Hey, Ann.
Hey,
I'm
how
not
are you?
gonna even. I'm not gonna ask you how you're feeling because I can't even imagine. I'm just so happy that you're able to join me tonight.
Yes, ma'am. I, I can't promise I'll be on here a long time.
We don't need you long. We just so happy to see you and to see that you are alive and as well as you can be. So that's the
I
beautiful
am,
thing.
I am considering today.
Not at all. You can't do it. CJ needs you here
Yeah,
for his sister and his brother, his babies, for yourself.
yeah, it's been a rough one.
Yeah, you got to keep having fun like you do. I be seeing your TikToks.
I didn't mean to send that to you today. It was supposed to go to one of CJ's friends.
That's all right. It was cute. It's like the ones I be seeing all the time. You
Someone
do
asked
know
me to
we.
do that.
Well, you do know we on there, right? Let's just get that straight.
No, I
We're
didn't
not
know that.
backstage. Yeah, we're not backstage. Everybody can see us and they can hear us.
Where are we?
Yeah, we're no. See, like when we
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you.
everybody.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's say it like this. Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. I hadn't planned for us to start it this way, but we started how we started. The way I normally start it is I play a little music to try to give people a chance to come in, and then I'll open it up with, one of my songs, and of course, one I sing. And, I did a special one for CJ that I play all the time, and one of my hashtags in here is always Justice for CJ and Justice for Mo3 because that's my favorite rapper, and he left here too by gun violence. So those two people, I'm going to always say justice for as long as I have my right mind. Everybody, I want you all to meet Miss Ann Proctor.
Okay, I can't see any of the comments or anything. What do I need to do?
Okay, are you on a computer or are you on the phone?
I'm on my phone at the bottom. I see Mike, Cam, chat, more, and leave.
So hit chat and see if that'll do it because I've never been on the phone, so I don't know.
Mm.
Do you see if you see chat?
Oh, shoot.
I can still see you.
You could still see me?
Real good.
Well,
And I'm going to come on camera in a minute. I'm going to smoke me a cigarette. I try not to smoke online anymore.
well, I don't know what I'm doing. If someone says something, you're just going to have to tell me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. A lot of people are saying hello and how are you? Now you hit your mute button.
Did I?
Okay, now I can hear you. I got you now. Okay. And you know what? I might be looking at my other screen because I have two screens and the other one is on mute. So, child, this is what my son tell me, and he's 43. He will be on April the 9th if he make it. And he always tell me to us old folks ought to keep our ass off this technology. Because I'm always getting something mixed up or confused.
That part.
And yeah, he might not be lying, but his mother's hard-headed, so I just, do what I do. And it come out how it comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I can't do. Technology is like crazy.
Yeah, I never liked it, I'm not a game player and stuff like that, so I guess if you're not interested in stuff like that, it's kind of hard to grasp. For me, it is. It's hard to grasp. But let me just welcome everybody to the Tiger's Den. I'm glad you guys are here. Like I said, I didn't know that we was going to start like this, but we start how we start. I normally play my little song, and so maybe we didn't need that, but we will play our CJ song. And so, Ann, I need you to hold on or go on mute or do something because I have to do this. It's two songs I play, and I'm sure they're going to tear your little heart open. And one is A Mother's Love, and it's by a singer called Kim. And then the other one is CJ. And I play these quite often. And the third song I play quite often is The Greatest Love of All. Those three. And I sing them, so I'm not a songstress, but I just have a song in my heart and I love to sing. And so I'm going to start the way we would normally start with A Mother's Love, because that we know you have.
Okay, because I'm very well about to start crying. Do I just hit the mic to turn it off?
No, what you want to do, if you want to go off camera, turn off your camera.
Okay, so hit camera.
And just turn it off. Yes.
Okay.
I see your A is up there.
Okay. I also wanted to smoke a cigarette like you, so.
Okay, help yourself. So here we go. I want to just welcome everybody that's here. Thank y'all for coming. I don't know if you guys recall, but Uncle Suge introduced us to Miss Ann Proctor in her story. And he ran across it one day looking through YouTube. And then he reached out and got in touch with her. And we were able to have an interview with her on his show. We've never forgotten Ann Proctor and CJ. And that's why that's one of my hashtags, Justice for CJ. I'm going to be explaining what's happening after. We're going to let Ann speak, and because she really is doing us. I can't believe she found the strength to be here, but she told me she would, and she's a woman of her word. So I appreciate that even in her pain. I'm a drama queen, and I don't know if I could do it, but she's done it. And so we want to commend her, and I want to commend you guys for coming in. Now, I have her Cash App pinned, and if anybody want to bless her with anything, please feel free. It is not a requirement. It is not a demand. She doesn't charge anything. But me being the person that I am, I'm just a giver at heart and a mother of one son. And I brought my niece home from the hospital that I call my daughter. But I only gave birth to one child, and that's my son. And so I just do what's on my heart to do, and everybody do the same thing. Give if you want to. If you don't feel like you're in church and you have to, because you don't. She's not looking for anything but strength to make it through another day without her baby. Today marks 6 years that her son was gunned down. And we know YouTube is very particular about what we say and how we say it. Today, we're going to have to let YouTube have their way, because we're going to have our way. And we're going to be free to say whatever we choose to say. So, Ann, do know that you have the right to say whatever you choose to say.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the whole situation. And I'm going to start with the song now. And y'all stay with us. Thank y'all so very much. In a mother's love, you will find everything. Everything's alright. To a mother's love, you are bound. You can rest on sacred ground. In a mother's love, you are free to dream, because she sees what you can be. In a mother's love, you see the sun, enough for two. but you're one in a mother's love. You can feel something hurts. You can heal. Yes, a mother's love is real. You grow because she knows to let you go. Yeah, mama. Mama, mama, mama. Mother's love. Mother's love. Yeah. All right. A mother's love. And a mother's love never lies. She believes that you can fly with all of her might. A mother's love. Yay, mama. And can you see the chat that I sent you, a private chat?
Let me see.
You don't
That's
have to.
strange.
You know what? I might not have done it right because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'll ask her to try to do it herself because I don't know what I'm doing when I did what I did. I'll be trying.
Whatever you have is the only one I have.
Okay.
That's strange. I've never had that happen before.
Okay. Well, don't worry about it. We'll get it fixed. If it's something that I did wrong, don't worry about it at all.
Okay.
All right. One moment. Let me just do this. And we'll see. I'll let you know in just a minute. So let's do our other song and then we can get ready for you to say what you'd like to say to the people, and then I'll take over because we don't want to burden you longer than we have to. We truly appreciate your kindness and your humbleness for being here. And we know you're crazy and funny, so feel free to be yourself.
Okay.
Feel free to be Miss Ann.
Okay, I will.
Okay, let's do CJ now. And I started making these songs because people started bullying me. And I have so many songs now. I have about an album or two. Hold on a moment. Here we go. Justice for CJ. A son, brother, father, uncle. Up drove the hearse Cadillac. A crowd of people gathered around, all dressed in black. And as they removed his body from the car, such pain she never knew had filled her heart. It happened on an early Saturday morning when the noise from the phone really disturbed her. She wasn't too sure at first just what the caller meant when they informed her that there had been an incident. Why, oh why, the sound of a mother's cry as she gathered herself and wiped the tears from her eyes. Somebody asked, who was the next of kin. But oh Lord, it was the beginning of her end. March 17th, 2018. CJ will forever be 22 years young. Justice for CJ. Okay. Now we can officially start. I see Uncle Suge is around. And look at that note I just sent you.
Okay.
And tell me if that's correct.
You got an S after Angel. It's supposed to just be Angel Mom.
Okay. And did you know you misspelled Angel?
Did I?
You got Angle.
Oh my gosh! You know what? You're right. I was supposed to change that, and I never did.
Yeah, well, just leave it like you got it right now.
I will.
Okay, that's.
I wasn't thinking. I wasn't right in my head when I did it, and then I realized what I did. I was like, I'll just change it later, and I forgot.
Yeah, that's all right. We don't want you to change it right now, but I'll take that S out, and then they'll put it in there.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, you don't have to worry about it. I know you do. I've been talking to you now for what, over a year?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Periodically through our little messenger.
Yeah.
And you know what? On that phone where that messenger is, I rarely use that phone.
Really?
So yeah, when you send me something and it takes me a minute to get back to you, that's what it is, because I look at another one and I have it on my regular everyday phone. That phone I have is like my business phone and I rarely use it. But anyway, we want to whenever you're ready, if you want to talk to the people, tell them how you feel. How is it going with the investigation? Do you hear anything? Have you heard anything?
Well, the investigation still, they just put him on the back burner. I don't hear from them. I have to contact him.
Okay.
Everything they told me that would happen. Yeah, it's not. They said they put him on pause, but come on, that's what they call it. We know what it is.
Yeah. They literally made it a cold case.
Yes, ma'am. When I called up there one day to find out if anything changed, they didn't even know who he was.
Do they still have the same DA?
The one that that was in court with me, yeah.
Okay. Well,
as of right now.
Okay. I don't know if you feel like talking about it or whatever, but because we have a new audience, we have, my audience, and I have new people, and we have some Suge audience, and he has some new people as well. But if you want to talk about it, you can, or I can present what I put together to talk about.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, you asked me what you want to know. I have no problem discussing it with anyone anymore. I used to not be able to, but I can now.
Okay, fantastic. So could you kind of tell us when, how it was going for you?
Say that again.
That week. Tell us how it was going for you that week.
How it
And
was
I'm gonna
going for
come
me?
on how it was going up to the time that this happened. Once you found out, and what you found out after you found out what had happened to your baby. I'm gonna come on camera.
Okay, I think, hold up, let me turn my volume up.
Okay.
I think that's one of my problems. I can't hardly hear you. Okay, go ahead. Say it again. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. No, Kelly, it doesn't have a 22 on it. No, it doesn't have a 22 on it.
Yes, it does. Angel Mom 22.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right, Kelly. Then I gave it wrong to Maria. Well, how did you get what I said? Do mine say that?
You sent it to the right one.
I did? Well, I just sent it to the one that's been in my phone. Oh, yeah, it does have 22. I left the 22 off when I sent it to... That's what it was. Okay. Forgive me. They got it. That's correct, y'all. I had it wrong. Maria, add the 22. I'm going to delete that one. Okay. Yeah. I told you, I don't know what I be doing half the time. I be trying, though. My intent is good. My heart is in the right place, but we sure don't want nobody to get what somebody's going to give you. What I was asking you is if you could just kind of tell us how that week was going up to the time you got the phone call and what you found out after what happened to your baby.
The week before CJ got shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everything was going fine. Like, we was living our, like I said in my, like I tell people, when I went to sleep that night, I thought I was going to wake up and we was going to go back to our normal life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that was going to be the last peaceful night's sleep I've ever had. I didn't realize that. I mean, CJ left that day. He left the 16th to go to work. The last time I saw him was at 3 o'clock. He left. He said, Mama, I'm going to work. I love you, and I'll see you when I get home. And he gave me a hug. And CJ done that every time he went to work. He never walked out that door without telling me he didn't love me. So that was nothing new, and he told his son, he said, Daddy will be back before you wake up, and we could play the game tomorrow. And he was really excited. When he woke up, he woke up to me screaming. I mean, I was on the floor. I hit the floor. I was just out of it. And they had to calm me down because he wanted to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I said, don't tell him. I'll tell him. And when I finally calmed down, not calmed down, but enough to talk to him, he couldn't understand why. He told me, he said, my daddy never breaks promises to me. He told me he would always be there for me. My daddy don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to figure out how to tell him he wasn't coming back.
How old was he?
He was 6. He just turned 6. CJ had what is it called? Where they have custody and one parent's over all of it. What is it? Kind of custody is that?
Conservatorship.
Well, CJ had the last say. Satan lived with
conservatorship. You either have joint conservatorship or that's what it is.
Well, they had that. And so Zayden has been there with his daddy every day since he was born, unless he went to my mother's or something to spend the night. But when I think back on that day,
Take your time and cut your camera off at any time you feel like it.
I will.
Okay.
We were supposed to get up that day. And they were going to play the game, and then we were going to go get something to eat because his daddy rarely got off from work, and when he did, he'd like to spend it with his dad, with CJ. Can't even talk. And after I got that phone call from my daughter, and we told Zayden, that his oldest son's named Zayden. His mother, Zayden's mother, come and got him. Because I told him, I said, that would probably be better because I couldn't even think. I wouldn't even remember the feeding. You know? That day, I cried the whole day. I really didn't get the police. I snapped when the police come out there asking me, like, questioning me like I'm the one that done it. Which, you know, and I shouldn't have got ugly with them, but, you know, I'm thinking at the time, you're questioning me about where I was and what I was doing and this and that. I'm home with his children. You should be figuring out my son's case instead of asking me stupid questions. You know what I mean? Like I was, and I get what they were doing now, but at the time, you know, the first thing I thought was they were trying to point it at me. You know, and I said some hateful things to them people. I'm surprised they didn't arrest me.
I'm glad they didn't.
I mean, now that I think about it, it was really, I can laugh about it now, but I'm surprised they didn't arrest me because I said stuff I don't ever say.
You must have said some hell of a stuff to them people.
I did. But you know, that kind of upset me. Other than that, that pissed me off. Okay, it didn't upset me, it pissed me off. And after they left, you know, people tried to talk to me. I don't even remember who tried to talk to me that week or anything. I can't even tell you who was all at his services. Because the first time I seen CJ since he was killed was on the 21st. They already done his autopsy. We had to go and identify him to make sure they had the right body. That there, when I walked in and seen him, changed everything. That's when, because I was in denial. I was looking for CJ everywhere. I thought he was doing I had my mind that he was doing an early April Fool's joke on me. That's what I had put in my head, you know, and he was going to pop up at any time. Well, when we went there to identify him, me, his sister, brother, his dad, and my aunt all went. And when I walked in, I couldn't see him because of the way they had him. So I was like, yeah, he's whatever, let's leave. You know, I didn't want to know. I didn't want, you know, I was just like, no. Well, I went over there and my aunt told me, said, you know, you need to go and see him. That day there was a day I'll never forget. I walk in and I see my son laying there lifeless with just a sheet over him. That's it. When I bent down and said, baby, please get up. Mama loves you. Let's go home. And that's when it dawned on me because he didn't say it back. He always said, Mama, I love you too. And when he couldn't say it back, it dawned on me and I just lost it again. That was a really, really traumatizing day for me. It's something I will never forget. I mean, it's, and when I say this, I'm not asking people not to talk about him because it helps me. It really does. But what I'm saying is when someone says his name around or brings up memories or whatever, you know, the first memory I have, it's either him laying in the morgue or him in his casket. that vision is stuck in my head and it won't go away. Although I don't let that stop me from talking about him with other people or bringing his name up, that's just an issue I have. If somebody starts talking about my son, I'm not going to, just be rude to them. I like to hear stuff from people. I love it. I really do. It's what helps me keep him alive. I say his name all the time, every day. There isn't a day goes by that I don't mention his name and talk to him. Some people have seen me do it and tell me I'm crazy. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I know the problem is I'm grieving my son. Everyone grieves differently. They feel the same pain. They just grieve differently. And I choose to talk to my son and this and that. I mean, I have come a long way. I still got a long way to go, but I have come a long way from all of this. Because used to, I wouldn't. I think whenever I'd done the thing with y'all before, I cried. Like through the whole thing. I haven't cried. I mean, it's emotional and I have to stop myself for a minute and breathe. But for me not to actually cry like that, I could control it. I've come a long way. That is a real huge step. And I didn't think I would ever be able to talk about it without crying. And I was told I wasn't a good mother because when I talk about him, I don't show, like crying and stuff. I don't do all that. And they said, well, what kind of mother does that? Well, me. Me, but I think, if you think I was a bad mother, then shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I'm just like, leave me alone. You could just keep going. You ain't got to stop and talk to me. If I'm such a bad mother, why would you even want to look at me? You know what I mean? And that's just the way I feel when people start coming at me, acting all stupid, stepping at me sideways and stuff. I don't. You just don't do that to someone that's grieving over their child. That's something you don't do. Any kind of bad remarks that you may have, whether they're true or not, you don't do that. You don't. That week, I don't even think I ate, to be honest with you. That whole week, I don't even recall eating anything at all. I couldn't even talk to anyone. They would talk to me, but it was like, I would sit there and I would shake my head, and it was like, you ever had someone talk to you, like echoing right through you? That's what it was. I mean, I heard them, but I didn't hear them. The police.
Excuse me, Aunt. I hear you too. I'm just on mute because they say it's an echo. So I'm a nod with you and stuff. So I'm listening and responding.
Okay.
All right. Keep going.
Well, that whole week, honestly, I could tell you about the day it happened. I lost my mind. Obviously, I just lost it like any mother would. And I remember the 21st when we went and seen him. And I remember the 20th and the 21st. The 20th is when we went and went and planned his services at the funeral home. That there was a hard thing to do, to sit there and plan your child's service. Just to give them the questions they ask, and and I'm still looking around because I haven't seen him yet. This happened before, and I'm still looking around the funeral home like, okay, y'all okay. I'll play along with your game though. And that's what I told him. I'll play along, and I lost it. I lost it. And I remember when we made his funeral arrangements, his planning it, I could have sworn, like, a lot of people might think I'm crazy, but I was at the funeral home and I could have sworn I seen him standing there, and I was having a conversation with him, and they were looking at me like, who are you talking to? I know what I seen. I mean, whether y'all see him or not, if it's in my mind or not, I seen him regardless. You know, and I was having a conversation, and I told him, I said, I remember telling him, I said, you know, this April Fool's joke you got going on ain't funny no more, so come on. And he didn't respond to that. You know, he didn't respond to that. He just looked at me, and I remember they really thought I lost it, because I went from crying to smiling real big, you know, like a crazy psycho. And they was looking at me, and they said, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? I said, yeah, right now I am. I said, he just told me he loved me. They said, who? And I said, CJ. And they just looked at me and said, you need to go home and rest. We need to take you home, put you to bed. Well, I liked it. I wanted to stay there and finish talking to him. You know, I did. But like I said, they told me I'm going psycho. I went from crying to cheesing real big and wanting a hug and everything. Like at the drop of a dime, no stopping and wiping my tears or nothing. It just snapped. And excuse me, I went home and I couldn't wait. After I seen him, honestly, to be honest with you, on the 21st, I couldn't wait. I could not wait to go see him. I don't know what was going on in my head, but I thought when I got there that he was going to be there and it was all going to be over. You know, that's what I had in my head. And then, you know, they kept telling me what I needed to do. And when I looked in there and I didn't see him, I thought, okay, well, y'all got me. You know, I really broke down like I did. I probably a little bit worse than when I heard it, when I found out, when I seen him laying there. It's like reality hit me, especially when he couldn't say I love you back. That was a day that will never go away. I mean, I could never, ever forget that. I don't try either, but even if I tried, I know I couldn't. You know, well, after we done all that, you know, it took them forever to get me out of there, which I knew it would. You know, if I knew something like that happened, it would. I don't even know how they did it, to be honest with you. I cannot even remember. The next day, I just stayed in bed and cried all day until it was time. No, how do I do it? Okay. The next day, I stayed in bed and cried all day. And from what they told me, I stayed in bed up until the night before his services. That I would get up and talk. People would talk to me, and they said, you know, I was just in a daze. You know, just shake my head. I broke down, like, I broke down bad. A lot of people tell me I'm strong, but it's hard for me to see that. You know, because a lot of people say I would already be in a mental institution, or I'd be in prison, or I'd do this and I'd do that. But what they don't understand is, you know, struggling and happy is two different things. And that's what they don't understand. And I try to explain it the best I can to people. I even tell them it's two different things. I'm struggling every day, to this day. I struggle every day trying to learn how to live this day without my son. You know, so when people tell me I'm strong, I guess they see it differently than what I do, because I'm feeling it. You know what I mean? I'm feeling it, and I feel like I'm the weakest person in the world. You know, and they telling me different, and they want to, you know, talk to me about it, and which I don't mind talking. You know, I have a group for an angel group on Facebook, and they tell me I give excellent advice to them, but I can't take my own advice. That's my problem. But you know, I don't know how to explain it to people other than, you know, struggling every day and being happy every day. It's two different things. I will never be happy about this situation. I'm not saying that I'm going to put my life on, like just stop and lay in bed until I die, you know, every day. I'm not going to do that. I refuse to do that. I know people that's done that. I refuse to do that. I'm not going to let them win. You know, they took my son, but I'm not going to allow them to take that from me. You know, they took him, and that was enough. Why allow them to win and me just fall down? You know, I'm not going to do that. I got to be here. I've got 2 other children for one, and I got grandbabies. But in order for me to keep CJ's name alive, he's counting on me. And I am doing everything I possibly can. The day of the service, I got up excited because I already knew what was going on. But I said, you know what? I'm just happy I'm going to be able to see him. But I couldn't prepare myself to say goodbye, because how can you? There's no way. No matter how much I tried, I realized there was no way I could prepare myself for that. Well, I do remember the day of the service, and after this, I don't remember too much about that day. Bits and pieces come back here and there. But what I can remember right now is when I went up there to see him, I did try to get him to get up. I done went delusional again. And they had to stop me, you know, and they had to say, you know, if they had to just be hateful to me, I guess, I don't know, to get me to understand. They said they had to be blunt with me. And that was not the funeral director. They told him to leave me alone, but the family wouldn't let me do it. Wouldn't let me, you know, touch him or nothing. Well, I showed them, though, because during the service I did. I showed them. You ain't gonna take that from me. The people at the funeral home told me, like a few weeks earlier, they said, Ann, I have never seen a funeral like your son's before. I said, what do you mean? Did something happen? They said, I have never seen a mother and the 2 children or anyone else. It was me and my 2 children. We got a chair and we sat right in front of his casket through the whole service. And they said, in their funeral home, they said, I'm sure it may happen. It may have happened before, but not in their funeral home. And they said that other than a child's funeral, that was his funeral was one of the saddest funerals they had, because of the way it affected us. And, you know, I didn't care if somebody was up there talking. I'm sitting down here singing like loud, you know, and they're talking, and someone's like, that's kind of rude. I'm like, and I just snapped. I said, you know what? Leave me alone. If it's rude to you, get out. I'll do what I want to do. You know, shoot. And I did. They didn't realize they shouldn't have messed with me, because if they didn't mess with me, I wouldn't have acted stupid to them. You know, seriously, I wouldn't have. All I wanted to do was be left alone, because I knew that service wasn't going to last forever. And I knew I was going to have to walk out that door without him. And I do remember someone told me that when it was time to go, they come and got me, and they said, it's time to go. Everybody's almost gone. It's time for us to go. And it was a few people, because they knew that they weren't going to get me out that easy. And I looked at them. I said, tell me how. Tell me how a mother can turn away and walk away from her son, knowing she will never see him again. Tell me how to do that, and I will. And not one person could answer that question. Not one person. I said, you're telling me to do stuff, but you don't even have any ideas of how I should do it. Because right at that moment, I was lost. I didn't know what to do, because I knew when I left that casket, those doors was going to be shut, and that would be it. Well, I don't remember how I got away from the casket, but I do remember going back in. And they had to, I think somebody may have picked me up and carried me out. I don't know. But I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, because nobody really wants to talk about it. It's like people are scared to talk to me about it. And, I get what they're doing. I get that. But don't be scared, because, even if you're telling me a bad memory, that does help me. It helps me. I don't care if it's a ha-ha memory or something that's going to make you cry memory. It helps me. I like to hear things that people has experienced with my son, even if you've already told me before. Because 9 times out of 10, I'll probably forget what you told me. So, yeah, tell me again. That day, and after we left, his father's family wanted to have a balloon release for him at some kind of park. And I was like, again, I was still out of it. I was just agreeing with everything, which I had no problem with that. CJ's son, his middle son, Raylan, was the only one that got to say bye to his daddy. He was 5. The other 2, the mother chose not to bring them. I mean, there was nothing I could do. But Raylan was there. He got to say goodbye to his daddy, and he didn't understand. I know he didn't, because you could just tell he was 5 years old, and we ain't taught him about death at 5. I mean, a lot of people don't. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that do, but we didn't. And he had temporary custody of Raylan also. Well, Raylan went with us to the balloon release. His mother took him there, and Raylan, when he let his balloon go, they let his go first. I told him, I said, let him go first. And that baby stood out there, and he cried because he didn't get to give that balloon to his daddy himself. I didn't really know what to say. There was a lot of things I couldn't give advice that week. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't give my own self advice. I couldn't even eat. I can't even remember if I bathed. I don't know. And I don't remember anything. But I do remember that day with his son. And he kissed the picture that they had out there in memory of CJ. You know how sometimes when you release balloons, they have the picture? Well, they had a real big picture. They blew it up of CJ and his kids, all 3 of them. And he kissed that picture. And when he did, I went over there and I just picked him up and I held him as tight as I could. And I had to stop for a minute. You know what I mean? Because this child didn't understand what was going on. So I had to put myself on hold for a minute, and because he couldn't really understand why I was crying either. He did ask me, he said, Nana, why are you crying? I can't remember what I said to him, but whatever I said to him, he understood. you know. So I know I wasn't so delusional that I couldn't handle a child at that moment, because I was able to stop myself for him. Now, I ain't stopped myself forever. I mean, I went back to the same person, but she went ahead and took Raylan out because she thought he was getting too emotional. And that was fine. I was okay with that. Well, you know, the first year, well, no, I don't remember exactly what day they found Tiffany. I'm not even supposed to be saying their names. I was told not to say their names and accuse them because they haven't done anything and they've been released. So I have to say they or whatever. So if I'm not saying their names, that's why. They could sue me or get me in trouble or something. I don't know.
It makes sense only because they have not been charged and convicted. But what you can do for yourself, if you can help yourself, is just remember they can look at the news story and look in the newspaper because the names are there. But you don't want to be held liable. And it's nothing they can do because that's just what you feel, that's what you've seen, that's what you've heard, but they haven't been convicted in a court of law. So to keep you from incurring any additional hardships, then the her and the him.
Well, I don't remember what day it was that they found her or found out it was her and got her. But I do remember them coming to me and telling me that they found one person, and I was like, oh my gosh, there was two. You know, are you sure it was just two? And they said, no, there's one more person. Well, on April 19th, on CJ's birthday, they called me and they told me they arrested him. They found out who it was. They knew who it was all along, but they couldn't tell me. You know, I guess, you know, I don't know. But they called me and they told me they arrested him and who he was. And they told me the story that they got out of it. Okay. Well, I was lied to, you know, and by the way, when they arrested him, the first thing I done to CJ was said, happy birthday. Happy birthday. They found him. You know, what a present to get, but happy birthday. You know, the first year when I first went, I think I went to court the very first time was a few months later. That was the first time I ever seen them, ever. I didn't know who they were. They were strangers. I let two strangers that I didn't even know destroy me. At the drop of a dime. They destroyed me. But I seen them that day. And that damn girl looked at me like, yeah, I did it. There ain't nothing you could do about it. I can't remember if it was the DA, but someone that worked there was sitting next to me and she seen it and she stopped me. She said, Miss Proctor, don't do that. Don't just let it go. Let it go. And she had to convince me that it was just leave it alone. You know, we're going to get her. Don't do that in court. Right now, that's the last thing we want to happen because we don't want to have to put charges on you. So, but I think anybody would have done that though if it happened to them, especially any mother. You know, if you go to court and the person that was supposed to kill your son looks at you like, yeah, I did it, bitch. You know, what you gonna do about it? That's exactly the way she was looking at me. And I wasn't delusional. That's the way she was looking at me for real. You know, other people seen it. But that day was just to I think set his bond. She got off on the bond. She got out with the a signature bond. Why? I have no idea, because from my understanding, the way they got her was because she didn't show up for court on a defects case. But hey, let's give her a signature bond. This is only a murder case. Let's give her a signature bond. And they didn't know if she was going to show up or not. So I don't think I would ever let someone out with a signature bond, especially with a history like that. They said she's done it more than once. Well, his bond was really high, though. He did have a real high bond, and no one could get him out. He said, I went to court a couple of more times that year, but it was just to update on what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Every time he walked in there, he wouldn't look at me. He'd look down on the ground. He wouldn't look at me. Okay. I don't know if he knew who I was. I don't know. All I know is he wouldn't look at me. I've never had a conversation with this man. I don't even know who he is. If I was to see him in the streets, even though I seen him in court, that was just then. I wouldn't know who he was. I really wouldn't. And that might be a good thing. That really might be a good thing for me. The other, like I said, the other court times was just like updates. And then a bond hearing come up for him. First two was denied. Third time they went in there. And they said, being that he done so much, I swear to you, this is what they said, being that he done so much time already in jail behind this, his lawyer said he felt that that if they gave him a bond, lowered his bond, actually lowered it so his family could get him out, that he would stay away from her and stay, I think, at his brother's, maybe, I forgot. Anyway, somebody in his family stay at their house. Because he'd been in jail for months. I guess they felt that was just a little bit too much time for him. Just a little bit. Because they lowered the bond enough for his people can get him out. To see that man grin the way he did, you have no idea what went through my head. It not only... I was beyond pissed. I mean, pissed is an understatement. Really. And there was nothing I could do. I mean, I said what I was supposed to say. I mean, I done what I was supposed to do. I done my part, which I believe if I didn't ask to speak or anything, they wouldn't have, asked me if I wanted to, but I did. That's not when I read my impact statement, though. So I'm in North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina, so I couldn't just run back just for them to do an update and then run back to North Carolina. I lived a long way. So I would send my daughter up there and just keep me updated on it. And she said, Mama, every time we go in there, that girl has done violated her probation, but there is some reason that they allow her to keep walking free. She said, I don't know why they're doing it. She said, every time something happens, she's in violation of her probation, but yet she still walks out that courtroom. The girl doesn't look like she was on drugs. Like, I don't know if it was her being on drugs or the stress that was going on. I don't know. I'm not going to say I know she was on drugs. I'm just saying she just didn't look healthy. Okay, I don't want to put something out there that's not true because I don't know. She looked bad. I don't know about now, but I know then she didn't look good. She done lost so much weight, that it was unreal. She just looked like someone that was on drugs. I said, well, have they ever done a drug test on her? Like, that should be a violation of probation if she's even got marijuana in her system, at least in Georgia. You know, and my daughter was getting upset. So I called the DA and I asked them, I said, I don't understand why they keep letting her out or letting her walk out the courtroom. And she's violating everything, like almost everything. Can't y'all order a drug test or something? Like that has to be part of her, you know, parole or probation. That I think they had her on probation. I can't remember. I think they called it probation. But anyway, I said, isn't that part of, you know, violating it?
I think it was just bond.
But if she, yeah, but and she had so many rules. That's what I don't understand. There were so many rules she had to follow or she'd get put back in. Every daggum rule she broke, she still walked out that courtroom. I have never seen nobody so lucky as them two in my life. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, if you want to get away with murder, Brunswick, Georgia's the place to go. Because that's exactly what happened. They got away with what they done. A lot of people says it's because of his brother. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know that man. So I don't know. And that's what I tell people if they say something. I couldn't tell you because I don't know. I know what people assume and I know what I've been told, but I don't know. Well, fast forward to what was it? When Jackie Johnson and them was getting taken out of office and another DA was coming in. They said Jackie Johnson had a lot to do with it also, because when they first started questioning me about giving me the details on the things they found, the first thing they told me was, and I'll never forget this because it was the very first thing they said that they found that would work in court, and that was blood on his shoes, not CJ's, the other dude, on his shoes. And I said, okay, so there's blood. What is it that you're gonna have to do with that? They said, well, we got to send it off and make sure it's your son's blood, because that could be an animal's blood. That's just what they're going to say if you don't get it tested. You know, and I'm like, okay. I asked them about it, and they said they never had a shoe with blood on it. They didn't know what I was talking about. I said, look, you know, I might have acted crazy, you know, when my son got killed or this, and I may act crazy sometimes, but we're talking serious, and I know what y'all told me. I know what y'all told me. Well, if it was there, it's gone. They had a gun box that disappeared. They had several cell phones. They disappeared. They said they couldn't read the writing on who took it, who took the cell phones, who had them in their custody of keeping them. So they're gone. They can't find them. They're nowhere to be found. So they say. And they probably are nowhere to be. I can't find them. I'm sure you can't find them, but I'm sure someone knows where they are. You know, period. I mean, you can't get me to believe anything else. They were there. They told me a lot of things that I was, actually, I kept bothering them for them to tell me things, because they kept telling me, well, we can't tell you this because we haven't been to court. We can't tell you everything we have. And I think I aggravated them so much, they finally told me over half of the stuff they had, and all of it's gone. All of it's gone. CJ's car, they dusted it for fingerprints. There was not one fingerprint on there. None. Not even his. Not even his. That is just strange to me for them to think, okay, well, his is not on there, so, you know, no big deal. You have no idea. I almost went to jail so many times because of these stupid people. Because at the time, and that's still, I spoke my mind. I didn't just let them tell me something and be okay with that. You're going to tell me, and you're going to tell me in the way that I understand, not in the way that, people you work with or the law might understand. You need to make sure I know what you're talking about. Because if you don't you say one thing to me if you start hearing this or that, because I'm only telling them what you tell me. So you need to make sure I understand. Break it down to me. So they got to the point they went ahead and told me they had the shoe, which of course it's gone. The cell phones, a gun box. What was it? Oh goodness, there's a few other things they had. They had enough evidence.
I have the list of everything that you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
I have all of that information.
Well, it was a lot. I mean, it was enough to get someone convicted, and it's all gone. Every bit of it. I remember the last court we had, the last court date. They called me and told me when it was. So, and the new DA, he was new. He was fairly new. He had already been in there like maybe 2 months. But he was already up to date with the case, from my understanding. I don't know. He done what he could do, being that he was so new. He called me in there. He told me, he says, well, I need you to come a little bit earlier so I can introduce myself and we can meet and we can talk about this before we go into court and what's going to happen. I said, okay, well, I go up there, and do you know that he asked me, I learned more from this man within an hour than I learned the whole, 3 years, I think, before they actually went to court. From one man, I learned more about my son's case than I had in 3 years. He asked me, he said, okay, so have you seen the video of her telling us what happened at the jailhouse? I said, no, I haven't. They haven't told me anything. He showed it to me. And if she was there at that moment, I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking because it might get me in trouble on here with TikTok, with the YouTube. But I'll just tell you, she described everything to the T. About my son, how they found him, why they was out there, how it played out. Okay. They was already, from my understanding, well, from what I remember on the tape, they was already out there waiting for him. And he was reclined back in the seat. And she said that she was setting up so CJ could see her. CJ went around her in part. And when he did, that's when he got out and started shooting. Okay, everybody kept saying it was because of drugs. My son had an autopsy report, and not one drug was inside of him. The only thing that was inside of his system was food. So, I mean, at least he had a full stomach, but that is the only thing. So, a lot of people will still tell me, oh, it had to be drugs. He had to be on. No, my son wasn't on drugs for when he just got off from work. And for two, the autopsy report didn't show anything, not even a Tylenol. Okay. So he was clean. The one thing that I will probably never find out is how they got him out there. I mean, what did she say to him? Her story would change a million times, I'm sure. It would probably change around to where it was CJ's fault. But what she told them was she was supposed to stay in the car with it running And then when he done what he had to do, they'd leave. She said that she didn't know he was going to do that. She thought I said, what? Really? You didn't know what he was fixing to do? He had a gun. You even told my son that if he messages him, don't respond to him, because she was scared of him. And she said, if you get a message and they say Corey, his name, in the message, do not respond, because he didn't know him as CJ. So my son was at work when all this went down. Like, he was at work. I mean, could you really sit there and remember, okay, well, if this text message comes through with this name on it, don't respond? No, that's the last thing that I would be thinking anyway. I wouldn't be worried about none of that. You know, he was out making money for his kids. She said that actually I don't know how this happened, but they said someone, and actually the person that said this disappeared. They couldn't even find them for court. Okay, it's like she just vanished. That was really strange too. Okay, very strange. That she had seen CJ's car way on the other side of town. Okay, well, you know, I don't know what you've seen, but obviously it wasn't him. My son, there he was dead. How could he be way on the other side of town? You know, they were trying to convince people that CJ wasn't even there. He was somewhere else, and that wasn't CJ. They were trying to do all kind of stuff. I mean, like, seriously, all kind of stuff. Now, she admitted to it in the video. I seen that she admitted to it. She described absolutely everything, and even down to how they left him. But she also said she had to do it. Her husband made her do it. And that was the only reason she told him. I said, well, first of all, okay, call me stupid, but me? What? Why are you going to rattle your husband? If you didn't do it, why would you try to put your husband in it? You know what I mean? I didn't understand that. I did not understand that, because she tried to say that none of that happened after it was already on film. It's real confusing. After they had it on film, and they couldn't use that film in court, but it's real and it does exist. And she did say that. I seen it. I heard it. She told him, she says, I didn't do anything. It was him. He did it all. First, she was saying that they didn't do it. Then she said he did it all. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if y'all have nothing to do with it at all, and your husband did not know, like you tried to say just then, why would you bring your husband's name in? Why would you do that? That's stupid. Because personally, if it was me, my husband would be the last person I tried to frame for it. Try to frame somebody you don't know. At least, I mean, that's common sense. That's just how they it's aggravating.
Unless they knew something you didn't.
Exactly. Well, I done heard on video from her, out her mouth, what happened. There was nothing she could do to change my mind about anything. I heard her say it. She tried to say that the police officers that was questioning her put too much pressure on her. Well, ain't that what they supposed to freaking do? She said that not only they put too much pressure on her, they promised her if she would tell them who did it, that she would be okay. Not one time in that video did that happen. Her lawyer was even there with her when she was telling them what happened. Her lawyer was sitting right there with her. So after I heard that, my mind was racing. I was ready to, if I would have seen her at that moment in that courthouse, I probably would have been in prison. I mean, and I'm being serious. I probably would be in prison if I would have seen her at that moment. But they kept me going outdoors. Every time they had to have a recess, they took me out somewhere the way they wasn't. Well, the DA calls me back there after he asked for a break. And he called me back there and he said, Miss Proctor, okay, I'm fixing to break everything down to you, and I will help you make the best decision. And he did. He done just what he said he was going to do. He told me, well, we can go forward with this, but 9 times out of 10, all they're going to get is a violent crime, which can be taken away at any time, you know. I said, well, we can't let that happen. We cannot allow that to happen because they did it. I heard it. This isn't no he say, she say anymore. I heard it from her. Okay. I know she did it. He told me, he said, well, the second choice is, and he said, and the reason I'm giving you these choices is because all the evidence is gone. He said, we cannot find it. We don't know where it's at. I have searched. He said, I have searched. And I believe he probably did. I mean, Jackie Johnson left him a mess to clean up. So I don't think he was lying to me about that. I mean, why should he? Because if you ask me, they should have put all cases off until he, you know, got everything situated. But you got to do what they tell you to do. So he's like, I searched and I can't find anything. And I brought up about the shoe and they said, no, ma'am, I can't find anything. He said, I promise you I have looked. And I believed him. And I looked at him. I said, will you tell me something? I said, if this was your child, what would you do? What would you do? Would you go ahead and do this and just get them a violent crime? Would you be okay with that? Or would you put the case on pause, as they call it? And he said, honestly, I would do whatever I could to get them arrested and put in jail for what they've done. And I said, so that's your advice, right? And he said, yeah, that's exactly what I would do. He said, you know, I got a daughter. He said, I got a daughter. And that's exactly what I would do. So I told him, and he explained to me what putting on pause meant. And that's when I looked at him. I said, you mean putting on the back burner? That's what you mean? And he says, well, you know, we call it's pause. You know, he couldn't say, well, yeah, that's what we mean or anything like that. But I think he was thrown off when I said that. He wasn't expecting me to say, you mean put on the back burner and just forgot about? That's what you mean? He wasn't expecting that. And he said, well, let me explain something. He said, I completely see where you're coming from. He said, but if we go ahead and charge them with a violent crime and they get like a year or even probation, once they get that, the case cannot be reopened. Tomorrow we might find a gun or we might find the evidence. The case has already been closed. They've already been sentenced. And that would be that. He said, but if we put them on pause, but he kept saying pause. And I kept interrupting, you mean back burner? Every time he'd say pause. And he said, if we do that, we can always reopen the case however many times we need to. And he said, and honestly, Ms. Proctor, I would not settle for them being charged for just just violence. Which I wasn't going to allow. I mean, I just wanted to know what he would do. You know, I wanted to hear it come from him. And I wanted to see just how true he was talking to me, and I could look in that man's eyes. That's just something you could tell. You just could tell that. Anybody could tell that. So when he told me that, that man done all he could do. I mean, a lot of people put him down about a lot of things, and that's fine. Maybe he did a lot of things. I don't know. I don't work up there, and I don't worry about his job. I don't worry about that. But I know he was only in office 2 months, I think. If I'm not mistaken, it was no more than 3, but it wasn't enough time to get caught up with all these cases, because the following week, the same thing happened with him. It's like he got all the heavy cases right at first. Personally, I would think that they should have done like the light cases until he was able to get caught up with everything. Just something simple. Okay, well, he broke his probation. You know what I mean? Just something simple, not no murder charge. And then the following week, something similar happened. Something similar to what I was going through with CJ was going to court, and the same thing happened with them. So Jackie Johnson left a mess for that man to clean up. A mess. And I will believe that with all my heart until someone could show me differently.
She was pretty bad. She was pretty bad,
Yeah.
Had Ahmaud Arbery's mother not been, just steadfast, it would have gone the same way that what you're going through right now.
Well,
it would have gone the same way.
Probably it would have. The only thing that was the difference was Ahmaud's was from a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And CJ's wasn't.
Exactly.
So that, I think, is the only difference. They both got shot and killed. My heart went out to that woman. I cried for her because I knew. I had just, I was going through it. And I cried for her. I contacted her. And I felt her pain. I really felt her pain. You know how sometimes you could just feel the vibe from someone else? Just talking to her over Messenger, I felt it. And they done excellent getting his justice. And again, I think that's because of everything that had to be done, and with the Jackie Johnson thing, Jackie Johnson screwed up. She messed up a lot, not just his, a lot of people's stuff. A lot. And if you ask me, I think everyone that's been charged with crimes when Jackie Johnson was in the damn office needs to be retried. Honestly, because she obviously had favorites and would just get the people she didn't like with charges they didn't need to be charged with. I've heard a lot of people, not just about Ahmaud's, several people that has contacted me and told me how Jackie Johnson done them. So there was several people, not just CJ's or Ahmaud's or the person after CJ. There was a bunch. And that's why a lot of people are walking around free of murder in England County because of her. I have a friend that they've never received justice for him, and it's been over 10 years, and it was because of her. So see, there's a lot of people. Well, I could look at that man that day, and I knew he was being true to me. So I told him, I said, you know what? I trust your word. I trust your word. At this moment, I said, I have not said that to anyone in a while. Right now, I trust your word. Come to find out, I was right. Jackie Johnson had so much on that man, but, it was his job. He had to do what they tell him to do. And that was to go to court that day. So he only could go with what he had. A lot of people, I just need people to understand that a lot of people, are saying he needs to pay for stuff too, but I don't think he does with CJ's case. Because I had a conversation with that man and I know what happened. I told him, okay, the only reason I'm doing this is we can reopen that case and I trust you with this. because you're telling me this is what you would do if it was your daughter. And I could feel it. I could feel his vibe. You know, I mean, this man looked me in my eyes, didn't blink, didn't look away, you know, like you would if you're lying a lot. He looked me straight in my eyes and told me that's what he would do. And he told me, he said, Miss Proctor, I can only go with what I have, and all the evidence is gone. He said, I'm not saying that if I would have had the evidence, yeah, sure, we would get this and get it taken care of. But they're gone, and I don't know where they are. They can't read the signature on who took some of the evidence, so they can't find out who it was. That's stupid. That is the stupidest thing I've heard. You know, seriously. I mean, and I've had people tell me that I need to do a lot of investigating because there's more to it than what they've told me. And I'm like, well, would you just give me a hint or something? You know, what do I need to do? I can't just go and accuse someone of something. You know what I mean? Somebody told me that I needed to investigate. I needed to protest in front of the police station. I'm like, okay, well, they said this is a lot deeper than you think it is. They're not telling you everything. I don't know how to do stuff like that. You know, I'm not no investigator. I can do what I can do. And trust me, every day I am sending an email, calling someone, doing something. You know, so I can only do so much. And I sure ain't going to go up there and get put in jail behind it. Because that just, I mean, what is that going to do? You know, me going up there and showing my butt to get put in jail. That, I can't do that.
Suge say he'll come and protest with you.
You know, what was sad was the last protest we had. Again, I lived in North Carolina. So, you know, that was a long way for me to travel. And
I'm going off camera.
Okay, well, that was a long way for me to travel. Okay, so they told me, oh, it's been I think it was like 4 years. It's been 4 years, and y'all haven't had a protest or anything. And you must not be worried about, you know, anything happening because you're not. How in the hell do you know what I'm doing? I'm doing what I can do. I had a job. I can only do what I can do. I can't afford to stop and run to Brunswick every time, you know, just for an update and to have a protest. There was no way I was going to go out there and try to protest and Ahmaud's people was out there. You know, that to me, that was for him. You know, his I think it was his aunt did bring CJ's name up when she spoke a lot, you know, but no, let them get justice for him. You know, they were just about there. The people told me I was a bad mother for that I wasn't trying or this or that. And the last protest I had, you know how people tell you they'll support you, they'll do this and they'll do that. No one come out there except for me, and I'm going to say maybe 15 of my family members. And that was on CJ's birthday. So that's what I'm saying. When a lot of people that I have dealt with since this, I've learned. One lesson I've learned is a lot of people say they got you. They'll help you. If you need anything, let me know. But you know, all of that is just for show. Because when you need them, they're always doing something. They can't help you. There's always a reason. And just like when CJ's all that week was over, I had so many people come up to me and say, you know, I'm just a call away. If you need something, I will come to you anytime. Well, the 25th come around and the real world started again. and I was alone. There was always a reason. There was only 2 people that actually would done what they said they were going to do, stayed true to their word. But 2, they had a job and they could come when they wasn't working. You know, I wouldn't ask them, oh, you don't, you know, you working, so what? You know, that would be selfish. But that all is for show, and it's sad that you have to learn that when someone passes away or gets killed or whatever. I mean, I've seen people come to CJ's funeral. I've seen pictures that, not pictures, I mean the signatures, you know, from the book. I don't even know those people. CJ, I mean, people coming out that I have no idea, our family don't know who they are, but they're supposed to be so close to CJ. Okay, they come and signed the book and left. That's all. That's it. So when people tell you that is by far not the truth. That is, no. This is the loneliest journey I have ever been on in my life. I have been on a lot of journeys by myself, you know, but this is the loneliest. Because I get that people have a life. I get that people can't just stop their life because I'm going through a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But how hard is it to pick up a phone and say, hey, I was just checking on you today?
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, how's everything going? Not just trying to contact me to be nosy.
Exactly. That's Suge right there on the screen. I
can't see him. I don't know how to pull that up. I can't. I just see black.
Oh, okay, on the screen it says, I will not let you down if I am needed. He said we all hear the same talk at funerals. Everyone go through it. Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, I've had my grandmother and my grandfather pass away, okay? Haven't had a father. CJ was actually the first one, like, that close to me. He was my son. So the other funerals, you know, people didn't tell me that. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of person, if I tell someone, you know, if you need me, call me. You call me. I will. If I tell you I'm going to do, I stay to my word. I have always been that way. Me and my grandma would be turning over in her grave if I told somebody I'd be there for them and just didn't. You know, I was taught better than that. But how much it broke my heart to know that some of these people said that to me, and I haven't heard from them, but maybe 1 or 2 times asking about the case. That hurt my feelings bad. Because it just did. Those are the same people that are supposed to be there. They're supposed to be. What family and close friends is supposed to do, right? Well, wrong, because they don't. And I'm not saying I'm the only one in the world, because I know it happens to a lot of people, but this is the first time I've experienced it. And this is the loneliest journey I have ever been down in my life. I'm doing all this by myself. The only thing that they told me, the only way they would be able to even reopen the case is if they found enough evidence, and if she and him got divorced, so she would testify against him. And I asked him, I said, so you're telling me that you're waiting on a divorce so she will testify against him? I said, that's got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You think that man's going to divorce her? Seriously? They might not be together, but he'd be the dumbest person I've ever known if he divorced somebody. You know what I mean? Like, because that was the only way they would make her testify. That man ain't stupid. That man ain't stupid. And he's like, well, if we see that they're divorced, if it pops up in our system, you know, we got her. I said, okay, well, another thing. How do you know when she gets up there, she's going to say the things you think she's going to say? How do you know that it's not going to be turned around? You know, you can't just try to convict someone of murder because of what one person, let someone go free with murder because of what one person says. You've got to have evidence too. I told him, I said, you just can't do that. I said, I can understand if you had more evidence to back it up in case she wanted to act stupid in the way that girl was. To this day, I believe she would do that. I really do. I said, you can't just sit here and wait for divorce papers to come through because you feel that she will testify and not lie on the stand. Because they can't use those videos in court at all. The judge already ruled that out. Text messaging he ruled out because he said, okay, I'm going to take a break with this and I will come back with the answer of if you can use the text messages or not. We come back. The first thing that judge said to me was, Ms. Proctor, I am sorry about your loss. And I hope we are able to get the ones that done this put in jail soon. And then he said, out of all the years he's been, now, mind you, in Georgia, there are ways around it that it can be used. Every state's not like that. He said, but ever since I have been in law, I have never ordered a husband and wife to testify against each other or use text messages. So, the few things that we knew for a fact we could get right then has been to where they can't be used. They're no good. He's done ordered and said they will not be used. It's out the picture. And I don't understand that because I get the text message. I kind of understand that, but if the same things are going from so many different phones to another phone, the exact same things, it has to be them. You know what I mean? Who else can it be? Their little girl? No. And in the text messages, not one thing changed. It's like they stuck to their, you know what I mean? They had it planned. They knew what they were doing. They have no idea what they've done to me. I don't understand why they think they hurt CJ, whatever it was. How can you hurt the dead? They didn't hurt him. They didn't hurt him at all. Even if he did feel pain, they said he didn't, but how did they know that? They wasn't there. It didn't happen to them. They don't know. They just assumed from science that it didn't hurt him. He went out like that as soon as it hit him. That's not true. You don't know that. You don't really know that. So, for them to think that they hurt CJ blows my mind. Makes me wonder if something's really seriously, like if they even finished the 5th grade. Because everyone knows you can't hurt the dead. They hurt me. They destroyed me. Not only they hurt me, they destroyed my fucking life. They destroyed me. 2 strangers destroyed my life in a split second. Like I didn't know them. 1 second, and the next thing I know, my life is gone because of them. That, and a lot of people tell me I need to forgive. It's all about, I'm not ready to forgive. Okay, I understand about forgiveness. I know that. But I'm not ready to forgive them. Is that so wrong? I mean, and if people think not. So, then, oh well. I'm not ready to forgive them. I don't know if I will ever be ready to forgive them. But I know right now I'm not. And they say that forgiveness is better for you and not them. I guess I look at things differently than a lot of people then, like I'm not going to forgive them because a lot of people are like, well, if you forgive them, then they'll know they done wrong, blah, blah, blah. No, I look at things differently. I look at everything, and I'm an overthinker. Okay. I've always been an overthinker, and don't lie to an overthinker, because whatever you lie about, I'm pretty sure they've already thought about it, because I do. Take a situation and I think, okay, if it happens this way, this is going to happen. But if that happens and this is going to happen, then that's going to happen. But if it happens this way, and then it just goes in a circle. I think about everything. And the forgiveness, I'm not ready to. And you can't make me. I mean, if I die tomorrow, that's something I guess I'll have to answer to God for. But, that's just the way I feel. Do I believe in God? Yes, I do. I do. With all my heart, I do. But, and a lot of people say there are no buts. Okay, but those people that say there ain't no buts, obviously they've never lost a child. You know what I mean? Don't try to give me, people that try to put me down and make me feel bad, don't do that unless you've walked in my shoes and you've lost a child, and you need to thank God. Get on your knees and thank God that you haven't. That you can't give me good advice because you haven't had it done. You haven't lost a child. You're only telling me how you feel about a situation from another person's child. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that's just the way I feel. Maybe I'll be able to forgive them one day.
I agree with you.
Huh?
I agree with you.
Yeah, this has changed my life. This is not something that you think is going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not like you're trying to prepare yourself your whole life because you know this is going to happen. CJ was in the process of trying to start a homeless shelter. Okay? He had custody of 2 of his children. One of them was just temporarily, but CJ, and I know everyone says my child was a good one. I get that. That's fine. That's their child, and I'm sure he was. Sure he was. I'll never say no one was a good person. Except for these murderers, of course. But this is not something that you try to plan for your whole life. I mean, you just wake up one day, and when strangers destroy your life, now I don't know how to live. I mean, like the things, it's like I had to learn all over everything, all over. It's like I had to start crawling again to even walk. And a lot of people don't understand how I try to explain stuff, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if anyone don't understand it. And I'm sorry if you feel I'm babbling, but that is how I feel. Okay. I can only do so much, and you want to know how I feel. I'm telling you how I feel. Okay. If that's not good enough for you, then don't fucking ask me. I don't know what it is people want from me whenever they ask me about it. Obviously, I can never answer the question correctly when people come at me with it, because I am forever having to, put someone in their place. Don't come at me sideways about something you know nothing about. All you're trying to do is be nosy. You know nothing about it. You have no idea what's going on with me. I went from living a good life to having to live day by day by taking medicine. Medication is what helps me go. I used to not do that. I used to not have to take medication, but in order for me to make it through each day, I'm now on medication. And it helped. I take sleeping medicine for PTSD because when I go to sleep, those dreams come. And I know I've said a lot of things before to y'all, and y'all probably already heard it, but you said that you have newer people in here. So those dreams come. And the first stage of those dreams, I go to sleep and I start dreaming, and I dream that I'm there. He's hollering out for me, "Mama, please help me." I don't want to die. I love you, Mom. It starts off like that. And then I see him shot in the head, and I'm holding him, and he's crying out to me. Then it goes to me seeing him in the morgue. And then it jumps to me seeing him in a casket. They had me on sleeping medicine, and I couldn't wake up out that dream. And it would, even if I did wake up and I go back to sleep, it would start. It was like a rotation. It would pick up where I left off. It didn't go away. I mean, there was times I would, 4 hours of sleep was on a good night. This messed with me, my health, really bad. They put me on PTSD medicine. They said it's the kind that they give people that's come from war. That's what they give them, and they gave it to me. It took it away. It did. But if I missed one night, it starts all over, so I have to make sure I have it. And there's times I haven't had the money to get it, and I've had to go without taking it and suffer with them crazy dreams. Like last night, I didn't have any to take. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be a good night, but I fell asleep and I started having a bad dream. I woke up and I was screaming. I was wet. I was soaking wet with sweat. And I looked at the time, and it was between 2 and 2:30. And that's the time they told me CJ's life was taken, between 2 and 2:30. That's what time I woke up. And I haven't been back to sleep since. I can't. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll sleep really well tonight, but yeah, that woke me up. And it's like every year, once 2 o'clock hits, there is no going back to sleep. See, I have to deal with this. This is not just this year. This is every year. This is what I deal with. Anything could trigger it. I can't even have peace of mind because his murderers are walking free. I know once they get arrested, it's not going to change everything. It's going to be the same. My son's not going to be here. I get that. I know that. Okay. But until I can have peace of mind knowing my son has got the justice he deserves, because CJ matters too. My son matters too. Okay. And I'm quick to tell somebody, and I'm quick to knock somebody down if they say something sideways about my son. And yes, I have done that before. I'm not going to get into that on here, but yes, I have. I'm not going to be able to live a normal life until this is done. And I hate to say this, but at one time, I tried to accept the fact that my son would probably never get justice. Because every time I would try, it would just go in circles and the same thing thrown at me. And it was just like, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to accept the fact they're not going to get justice for my son. That's what it feels like. But then another part of me is like, if you give up, if you stop, then you definitely won't. And I'm like, well, I just stuck. Yes, I was talking to myself. I was talking to myself. I was. And I thought, okay, if I stop, then if there is a chance he will get justice, he won't. So I'll get on CJ's Facebook page and I'll write to him and post it. That's just what I do all the time. And I told him on there, I said, I miss you so much. It physically hurts. It physically hurts my soul down to my bones. And I promised him I would never give up. And every time I think, okay, well, I'm going to accept that fact, I go back and look at what I promised him. I do remember telling him before I left him for the last time. I told him, I said, baby, mama will never give up. We will find who did this. and you will have justice, or I will die trying. I will try till the day I die. So I'm doing everything I can. Like I said, whenever I get just so exhausted and tired, because I do a lot. I do. I mean, this is more than what people think it is. You know, it's a lot. Whenever I think about that, I go back and read the things I've said to him on his Facebook page. You know, like, this is not, I wouldn't wish this on anyone other than the two that done this to my son. And don't get me wrong, I'm not wishing, I don't want nobody to think I'm an evil person for even thinking that way. But they took 3 children's daddy from them. They took my son from me. They decided they could play God and decide it's not his time, you know, his time on earth is over, and take him away, take him out the world. They took God's blessing away from me. CJ was a blessing from God. I prayed one night and prayed, please send me a man or someone that will never leave me and that will love me no matter what. You know, and I asked for that, and God answered my prayers. 11 months later, I had CJ. So, and they took God's blessing from me. They took him. And what a lot of people throw up, you know, well, you know, all they got to do is ask God to forgive them and this and this. You know, I tell people, you know, I really don't want to get into religion with this, because I'll end up hurting your feelings. I will end up hurting your feelings all the way over there. Okay. Period. That when I tell people, you know, I'd rather not discuss that part, people don't seem to understand what I'm saying. Okay. So at one point, I was to the point, if I seen that I was just ready to hurt somebody. I'm not going to say no names on here, but if I had ran into a certain person, I had all kind of things planned in my head, like as if I was really going to do it, you know, but thoughts crossed my mind. It did. Because I'm having to wake up every day. Do you know that same day I got my son taken away from me, I lost my grandchildren too, not to death, but to, you know, they lived with me and then they were gone. So all in one day, a stranger destroyed my life, took everything from me. I don't know. I blame myself. What have I done to deserve this? I blame myself a lot. I do. And people tell me I shouldn't do that. And they're probably right, but I can't help it, because no one else is in the office is even reaching out to help me try to get justice. It's like I'm doing this on my own. You know, it's not like, this is the first murder case I've ever even been associated with at all. Like, it's not something people wake up every day. Well, let's see who got murdered in Glenn County. Did my child get murdered? Well, let's take it. You know, it's not like, that's not the way it goes. You know what I mean? That you don't understand until you go through it. You know, and it's even hard for me to explain. I mean, I'm sure about some of the things I say, I'm sure some people probably feel it, you know, and I try my best when I'm on, like, around people. And a lot of people say that's one of my problems, is it's hard for me to break down in front of people. I don't like it when people telling me I do things for attention. Okay, whatever. I'm trying to get my son justice for attention. Yeah, okay. I'll let you have that. You know, but that's not it by far. I don't want attention. I would give up my life for him to be back and let him live his. I've lived mine long enough. And that's not possible. That's not possible. You know, my grandmother once told me, she said, baby, this was before I became a mother, she lost a child. She lost her daughter, one of her daughters. And she said, baby, you will never understand pain until you lose a child. I didn't understand what she meant. I didn't. I know now. This is a type of pain that everyone really needs to thank God that if they haven't experienced it, and ask God never to allow them to experience it. Because this is not just the heartbreaking pain from a breakup or from what someone said or this or that. This is a different kind. This is I believe personally, other people might think it's different. For a mother, I believe this is the highest level of pain there could be. There is nothing else that can hurt you more. Life cannot throw anything else at you that would hurt more than the death of your child. Life kicked your ass, but you can't throw anything else worse than that. So I have to live through this pain every day. Every day. A lot of times I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm here by myself. And that's fine. Like I said, I understand people's got a life. I'm not mad at someone because they can't come over or do this or do that. What pisses me off is when they tell me to call them if I just need to even talk. And then they're not there. That pisses me off. But I'm not mad at you from having a life and having to live your life. Just don't lie to me especially about that. You don't lie to people about stuff like that. That is wicked. That is evil, if you ask me. It really is. Because you never know if that one person really, really needed you that time. And I'm not trying to, you not answering that person could have been the last for them. They could have died or whatever. It could have just broke them. But if you would have answered that call, you could have been the one person that made them smile that day and just change everything completely around. And I don't have that. I don't. And that's fine. I've learned to accept the fact that I'm in this by myself. Hell, it looks like I'm in it. Not even the law is not even involved anymore. But I'm doing everything I can do, everything I know how to do. But, they must have a fucked up life. And I hate to say that about someone, but their life must be really fucked up to have to kill someone. You know what I mean? Like, I do know their history, and I'm not going to bring that up, but I know their history. And I remember coming on Suge's Live and hearing things from him. I remember the things I've heard. And it doesn't matter if it's someone from the street. I remember what they tell me about people. So I know their history. They must have a fucked up life. I know I think it's a parent's history. I know that. So technically, there's really nothing no one could tell me that about them that I haven't already heard. I'm sure and I've also seen a video, and I think maybe it was either you or Suge told me to watch it. It was about one of them having the key to the city. That I was speechless. To watch that video, just like, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing or what I was seeing. And I've tried to tell people this. Tell the DA this and that, and they're like, that's hearsay. Okay, but can't you record what I'm telling you so you will know in case, something, in case it comes up and it helps? Can't you do that? No. They're not allowed to. So everything I throw up, I'm shot down. Every time I step up, I get pushed back down. And I'm lost. I'm lost now. Actually, today has been a rough day for me. But I think being that my daughter was here today, wasn't working helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. I wasn't thinking crazy thoughts, although I was sad all day, and I cried most of the day. Most of the day I have cried. I wasn't thinking crazy thoughts. And those crazy thoughts, I just will not repeat them. But they're not good.
So I have 2 questions for you. So if you like to go off camera so you can, take your cigarette break and put your phone on mute and just listen to me ask you these questions, and then you can come back and answer.
Actually, give me a minute. I got to walk outside. I don't smoke in here.
Okay.
That would be great. I am so messed up in my head.
And remember, you can cut your camera off.
It's really hard for me to talk like online to people I don't see. I can't see, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I do a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, you're doing good. I mean, you're doing fantastic, and we truly appreciate it.
I mean, I'm sure people want to hear other stuff, but I can only tell them what I know. That's it.
Okay, put your
I'm
phone
fixing
on mute.
to turn this around right now. How do I? You said put it on mute.
You can put it on mute.
How do you put it on mute?
It should say just mute down there at the bottom.
It says mic and cam.
They hit the mic. If you hit the mic, it'll go on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Now?
Yep.
Well, it's not working, man.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right. So the first question is, well, I'm going to make a statement first. Grief and grieving has no timeline. It is different for every individual. The question is, has Miss Proctor spoken with a grieving counselor, a therapist, or the religious community, family or friends, or people she can trust? That's the question. The first one.
I have been, when I lived in North Carolina, I finally caved in and went to a therapist, a grief therapist. And it helped. It helped some. It didn't take everything away. But I mean, all she told me to put my pain in a box and put it in my back in my mind. I can't do that. Not right now. I don't know how to do that. But some of the things she said helped, but then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, you couldn't go anywhere. So that took everything away from me. COVID messed up a lot that I had going. I was actually trying, and I try every day, but I was trying to heal with a doctor's help, a therapist's help. Now I'm like, why? What's the point? Every time I do it, something happens. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just being negative Nancy. I don't know. But I guess people have to look at it from my point of view, from the things I've done. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you're looking at it as negative Nancy.
But I have went, and I was going to her. I think I went for a whole year, and then COVID hit.
Okay. So the next question. Has the SBI or FBI ever been contacted to see if they can help?
They've never contacted me. Now, again, this is just what they told me. I don't know. Actually, it was Jackie Johnson that told me that they were communicating with them. I've never seen any papers. I've never talked to any of them. So honestly, I can't answer that about them, but they haven't talked to me. No.
Okay. Then the next question is, Does Miss Proctor have a prosecuting lawyer?
Nobody will bother the case. Every time I try to get someone to help me, that's the thing that's pushing me back, is they say they can't help me on that case. And listen, there's police. There was, at the beginning, they had police officers that got off the case and moved out of town and said they don't want nothing to do with it. And I've got that on papers from court. And there was one police officer that's just disappeared. That he had some evidence and he just disappeared. So I don't know.
Okay. I have that information. You had sent it to me, and I did a video about it once before.
Okay.
This is one thing I want to say to you. I'm not an attorney. I don't practice law. I don't try to give legal advice. I am an advocate for the people. And one thing I know that you could possibly do, but it's going to take a concerted effort. And I asked this of people before, it's only going to matter to the constituency of the legislature there in Georgia, especially in that county. But the state holds the legislature and it's all over. People probably need to just inundate them with letters about the spousal privilege. I have some information so that people can understand what you're really up against. We're not going to even talk about right now the evidence that's missing. We're just going to talk about the law right now. And give me a moment.
You still have all that stuff I sent you?
I do.
That's good.
I certainly do. Yes, ma'am. Everything you sent me, I have it right here. I had sent in the private chat, but you didn't see it. I have a 2-minute little news clip for, I didn't know if you could stand, to watch it. And I had asked you in the private chat. And
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I have a 2-minute clip.
The only thing I can't look at is pictures of him out there dead. That's it.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't know about any of those, so we don't have any of that. So let's do the clip, and then I'll read an article when the DA said that they won't pursue charges. And then again, like I said, I have that information that you sent me, that all of the stuff and all the people that just up and disappeared. I don't know if it's a Georgia thing. I'm sure it's all over the world. But just given what's going on in Fulton County right now and the corruption that's, surrounding their district attorney, it seems almost like the Jackie Johnson lady. And so, you never know what you get and what you have until you're in a situation like yours. And I tell you, from me as a mother, and I've only had one child, feel how you feel until you don't. And as long as you're not hurting yourself and nobody else, go through your go-through. Feel it, because you cannot pretend that it's not there. It is there. It is yours. I don't know what it feels like to lose a child, but I can imagine being the giver of life. Then it has to be horrendous when you lose it. So I can't tell you, you need to get over it. You need to do this. No, you don't need to do none of that. You need to be you, the best you can be. And if you're not you at that moment, then be who you are at that moment.
Well, I want to tell you this real quick. The mask of grief is something I have to wear daily, on a daily basis. Whoever I'm around, whoever I'm around, that's the mask I put on. How they expect me to be, because it's just hard. It's easier to say nothing's wrong than get into it, with them. If they expect me to be happy, then I'll just be a happy little camper with them. Yeah, we could go outside and skip down the road. If that's what they want, that's what I'm gonna give them.
Yeah.
It's easier to do that than anything else.
Okay. And Phyllis said that she read somewhere, if you don't have money, sometimes you can't get a lawyer to help. It's all about money. And
That's
I'm
true.
not saying that's true for all. And Maria say, wow, that's awful. So let's do this channel here. I have it. Let me find it.
Let me ask you something while you're doing that.
Sure.
Did you see me? I don't know if I even told you. I can't even remember, but I read the victim impact statement on Facebook. On live.
I saw that, and believe it or not, I really kind of made a copy of it, but you was a little perturbed.
Girl, let me tell you something. That was the 17th of March when I did it. I think it was like a year ago. I had been at the river all day long. I was looking bad, and I didn't care.
I have that clip that I'm going to put in the chat if people want to go look at it. I took that Facebook so they could go to Facebook and see it, because it was a little much for the way YouTube do us. And, you never know how they're going to do you, because some people may say that, we're bullying them and all that kind of stuff, because that's what people normally do on here, especially with me. But I see your situation. I used to look at ID all the time, investigation channel, and trust me, I cried so many times with so many families with their loved ones I knew nothing about, but it's just a story, and it's their truth. Well, that's the same way I felt when I heard your story, but I just had the privilege of meeting you through this medium. We don't know each other. We've never sat down and drank coffee together, but I feel a kindred spirit with you as a mother. And that's where I come from, and that's where I stand. And like I said, to me, the best thing that you can do at this time is going to take a concerted effort. But I'm going to read the law so people can know. But, and I even have some ways to do a fundraiser so that maybe you can get a couple of private investigators at different times, because there has to be an exception to the rule. And if there is not, then one should exist some kind of way. So maybe they can amend it, not necessarily take away the privilege, because we don't want to lose any liberties, but you can amend the privilege, because what if they're not together, but they never get married, they never get divorced. Right. So that's a whole different story. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if anything can be done about that, but perhaps if people would write, and, like you said, people will tell you they'll do things and they won't, but you can even get one letter and send it to everybody and ask them if they would sign it and send it in. And especially people that that live in the state of Georgia, who's going to impact some of those people that's going to be running for office. So that may work, it may not. But here we go. We're going to take a look at this. It's about 2 minutes. It's 1 minute and 56 seconds. But we want an informed audience. This is fair use. We are not bullying. We are not blaming. We are not accusing. We're reporting a news story. And I'm using Channel 4 News, I believe it is here. Let me look and make sure. I'm going to be showing it. It's News 4 Jacks. And that's what we're going to be looking at right now. And here we go. I'm going to make it big so everybody can see it.
Dead inside his car Saturday morning. He was found at the north end of Golden Isles Parkway. News4JAX reporter Corley Field spoke with Proctor's heartbroken mother.
Proctor worked here at Toucans, and this is the last place he was seen before he was murdered. His mother is now having to bury her son, and she wants whoever killed him to pay the consequences.
22-year-old Corey Proctor, known by his loved ones as CJ, is the father of 3 young boys. Their young lives changed forever after police say their dad was found shot to death on Saturday. His mother, Ann, chose not to show her face as she fought back the tears talking about her son.
All I can do is cry. The smile I once had is gone. I don't know what to do. They took him from me. They took him from me.
At this dead end of Golden Isles Parkway is where hunters found Proctor unresponsive inside his car early Saturday morning. When police got here, they say they learned he had been shot, and they found several shell casings outside of his car, as well as pants and boots. Proctor's mother says the last time she heard from her son was when he...
I'm sorry, Ann. I hope this doesn't bother you too much. But I'm going to play this from the beginning because I wasn't muted and the people can't hear it. It sounds real bad in their ears.
Proctor was found by hunters dead inside his car Saturday morning. He was found at the north end of Golden Isles Parkway. News4Jax reporter Corley Peel spoke with Proctor's heartbroken mother.
Proctor worked here at Toucans, and this was the last place he was seen before he was murdered. His mother is now having to bury her son, and she wants whoever killed him to pay the consequences.
22-year-old Corey Proctor, known by his loved ones as CJ, is the father of 3 young boys. Their young lives changed forever after police say their dad was found shot to death on Saturday. His mother, Ann, chose not to show her face as she fought back the tears talking about her son.
All I can do is cry. The smile I once had is gone. I don't know what to do. They took him from me. They took him from me.
At this dead end of Golden Isles Parkway is where hunters found Proctor unresponsive inside his car early Saturday morning. When police got here, they say they learned he had been shot, and they found several shell casings outside of his car, as well as pants and boots. Proctor's mother says the last time she heard from her son was when he was wrapping up his shift last Friday night at Toucan's Ale House, where he worked as a server.
It's unreal that a 22-year-old good kid, would get murdered.
Now all Proctor's mother has is memories of her son.
Every day he'd tell me, Mom, I love you. Every day, he'd never missed a day. Never. I'll never hear that again. Never.
In hopes that his killer or killers will be caught.
Those with any information about Proctor's murder are urged to call the Glenn County Police Department. Reporting from Glenn County, Corley Peel, Channel 4, the local station.
Okay, now I'm going to read an article. Give me one moment. This is, and let me put it up for you guys so you can see it. I always put them on a Word document because a lot of times if you go into these newspapers a lot, they want you to subscribe, and I don't want to subscribe to newspapers all over the world. DA will not pursue charges against husband wife arrested in connection to 2018 Glenn County murder. Corey J. Proctor was found shot back in April of 2018 on the north end of Golden Isles Parkway, according to Florida Times Union. The author is First Coast News staff, published at 5:48 p.m. Eastern D time, whatever that is, June 3rd, 2021. updated at 5:48 p.m. EDT, June 3rd, 2021. Brunswick, Georgia. The district attorney prosecuting the two people arrested in connection to the murder of a young man in Glenn County says no charges will come from his office. On Wednesday, District Attorney Anthony Keith Higgins of the Brunswick Judicial Circuit released a statement regarding the formal withdrawal of prosecution of Akeem and Tiffany Brown in the murder of C.J. Proctor. The Glenn County Police Department responded to the notice of withdrawal in a press release Thursday. The Glenn County Police Department understands the decision made by the District Attorney's Office as our relationship is dependent upon communication and mutual respect, said the Glenn County Police Department. While we understand the public's frustration, the Glenn County Police Department and District Attorney's Office have to follow legal guidelines set forth by the judicial system. The decision not to pursue charges at this time is not a reflection of the work of the Glenn County Police Department, but rather legal issues with material relationships in criminal prosecutions. Corey C.J. Proctor was found shot back in April of 2018 on the north end of Golden Isles Parkway, according to Florida Times-Union. Akeem Brown, 31, and his 32-year-old wife, Tiffany Renee Brown, were arrested in connection to the crime. Proctor was dead at 7:15 a.m. March 17th, slumped in the driver's seat of a Dodge Stratus on the parkway just north of Green Swamp Road, according to police. Brown was arrested around midnight Wednesday at a home in McIntosh County, according to police. His wife was indicted on charges of murder, aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, and contempt of court following her April 5th arrest, jail records show. The indictment filed April 11th in Glenn County Superior Court said she lured Proctor into a remote area and killed him with a .40 caliber firearm, according to the Brunswick News. This is not closed, and the Glenn County, it says this case is not closed, and the Glenn County Police Department will continue its investigation into the murder of C.J. Proctor until the victim and his family have peace, knowing the individuals responsible for this crime have been brought to justice, said Glenn County Police Department. That was back then, 6 years ago. And that's the incident. These are the people. The legal complications. Ms. Brown was expected to be the key witness against Mr. Brown. However, she refused to testify due to the marital testimony privilege. The Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney Keith Higgins dropped the murder charge against them, the murder and conspiracy charges. He cited insufficient evidence to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Public frustration. The decision not to pursue charges at that time was not a reflection of the work of the Glenn County Police Department, but rather legal issues related to marital relationships in criminal prosecutions. The police department assured the public that the case was not closed, and they would continue investigating until justice was served for C.J. Proctor and his grieving family. And so here it says, C.J. Proctor is a painful reminder of the complexities and challenges faced by law enforcement and the legal system in seeking justice for victims of violent crimes. His memory lives on, and we hope that someday those responsible for his death will be held accountable. And then I go on to explain spousal immunity. Spousal immunity is also known as husband-wife privilege or marital privilege. There are two types of spousal immunity. One protects private spousal communications, and the other protects spouse from being compelled to testify against their spouse in judicial proceedings. Georgia recognized spousal immunity. Generally, a spouse may not be forced, and it says generally, so that means that it's not impossible. A spouse may not be forced to testify against their spouse. However, there are exceptions to the spousal immunity. Exceptions to spousal immunity in Georgia. Georgia Code 245503 states that spouses cannot be compelled to testify against each other in criminal proceedings. In addition, Section 245501 states that communication between husband and wife are considered privileged. Therefore, parties cannot be compelled to divulge privileged information in court. Furthermore, Section 245505 protects a party or witness from testifying to any matter that could incriminate them or bring public contempt, disgrace, and infamy to themselves or a family member. Also, an individual may assert the spousal privilege even though their spouse is not charged with a crime. For example, if testifying in another proceeding could incriminate their spouse, an individual may assert spousal privilege. Spousal privilege can apply even when a person marries another person for the sole reason of asserting spousal privilege. However, Section 245503 clearly defines exceptions to spousal privilege. Therefore, spousal privilege does not apply in the following situations. When a spouse is charged with a crime against a minor, the other spouse can be compelled to testify about the specific act their spouse is accused of committing. A spouse is charged with a crime against the other spouse. The spouse is charged with causing physical damage to the other spouse's property or separate property. The alleged crime occurred before the lawful marriage between the spouses. If one of these exceptions applies, there may be no privilege for communications between spouses that occurred through emails, text messages, videos, letters, and other out-of-court communications. Furthermore, only the spouse testifying against the other spouse can assert spousal privilege. If a spouse wishes to waive spousal privilege and testify against their spouse, the accused spouse cannot stop them from doing so. Spousal privilege ends when a spouse dies or the parties divorce. Potential criminal offense where spousal privilege might apply. There are some situations in which criminal offenses could apply in family court matters. For example, OCGA 16619 states that a person commits the offense of adultery by having sexual intercourse with someone other than their spouse. Therefore, the spouses of the cheating spouses may choose to invoke or waive spousal privilege. Other examples of offenses in Georgia where spousal privilege could apply, and they give you the reasons: sodomy, simple battery, fornication, stalking, simple assault. There are many situations where spousal privilege could apply. Spouses may choose to invoke spousal privilege in civil and criminal cases where the privilege is not prohibited by law. And then it goes on to tell you how do you assert spousal privilege. And I can go a little slow with that. I'm not going to read that, but that's telling you how you can do it. And then I have bringing justice for CJ Proctor is a noble endeavor, and there are several ways you can contribute. Number one, raise awareness. Share CJ Proctor's story on social media platforms, community forums, and local news outlets. The more people who know about his case, the greater the chance of generating leads or new information. Number 2, contact authorities. Reach out to local law enforcement agencies such as the Glenn County Police Department and express your concern about the unresolved case. Encourage them to continue investigating and to explore any new leads. Number 3, support advocacy groups. Look for organizations or advocacy groups that focus on unsolved cases or victims' rights. They often work tirelessly to bring attention to cold cases and advocate for justice. Collaborate with these groups, attend events, and participate in awareness campaigns. Number 4, fundraise for legal efforts. Consider organizing fundraising events or campaigns to support legal efforts related to C.J. Proctor's case. Funds can be used for private investigators, legal consultations, or other resources needed to advance the investigation. Number 5, documentary. Hold on one second. Documentary or podcast. Create a documentary, podcast, or other media content that delves into C.J. Proctor's story. Interviews with family members, friends, and experts can shed light on the case. Share this content widely to keep the case in the public eye. Number 6, memorial events. Organize memorial events on significant dates, such as the anniversary of C.J. Proctor's passing. These events can serve as both remembrance and advocacy platforms. And number 7, contact elected officials. We got a number 8 too. Write letters or emails to local representatives, senators, and other elected officials. Urge them to prioritize cold cases and allocate resources for investigation. And number 8, keep C.J. Proctor's memory alive. Share his name, photos, and details regularly. The more people who remember him, the more likely someone may come forward with crucial information. Remember that even small actions can make a difference. By advocating for justice, you contribute to the collective effort to bring closure to C.J. Proctor's family and ensure that his story is not forgotten. And that's the writings that I had prepared for tonight on behalf of Miss Ann Proctor and C.J. Proctor and his father and siblings, and of course his babies. So Ann, whenever you want to come back and if you want to say something, you can. Let me see if anybody asked you a question since I've been reading. Okay, I'm on a mute, Ann, so if you feel like talking, you can.
You know, the one thing, all of that you just read, it really pisses me off, not what you wrote, but about the law, the marriage thing. You know, I know it's too late to help CJ, but that law needs to go. It really does, because if you want to murder someone and you're married, then you can just take your husband. Okay, let's just go. You could go with me. You don't have to testify. They're not going to make you testify. We're married. How stupid is that? You know, that is one of the stupidest laws ever, especially for a murder case, a serious case. You know, I just, it pisses me off to know that they have that law. Again, I know that law couldn't even help CJ if it wasn't in effect right now, but it needs to be taken away so someone else don't have to go through this. You know, because that is one, I don't know who come up with that law, but what the hell was they smoking the day they come up with it? You know, because I'm sorry, it just pisses me off.
But mute up for me for a minute and let me say something right quick. You don't have to agree with me because I don't agree to disagree with nobody, so I feel you on that. But what I want to say about that law, that goes under the law of privilege. The law of privilege, the reason they came up with that, and we don't know too many people that really use this law. And I don't know if they're using it correctly because, you don't have money. But we can find out. Like I said, it's just going to take a concerted effort because that law is like whatever you tell your doctor, whatever you tell your preacher, whatever you tell your spouse in confidence. They cannot go and tell the authorities unless you talking about doing what they did. See, they didn't tell nobody this but themselves. So the law itself is not what the problem is. It's the way the law is being applied is the problem. Because I truly believe that once we start giving up our liberties in any place, then they take more from us. They already taking liberties from us every day. So what we need to do is just see if we can continue to get people, and when you on Facebook, we need to come up with a letter and have a letter that you can tell people that they can get this letter and send it in. Get this letter and send it in. And they don't have to write nothing. All they got to do is sign their names. And we'll see about that. We'll come up with some kind of letter that you can use, because I promise you, we don't want to lose no more liberties. But I do know where you're coming from, and I'm not diminishing a second of your pain. So feel how you feel. Say what you want. I ain't got no problem with it. I just want to say that part.
I understand what you're saying. I do, 100%. And you're right. But like you said, the position I'm in right now, it's just stupid to me. That judge, that was one of the first things that judge used. It's like he had it prepared and already knew what he was going to say. It's like he didn't even have to think or hear the case. He already knew. Well, let's just use that. He could have overturned that law for because of the situation that was going on at the time. He could have said, okay, they give the judge the right to do that in Georgia, like he was reading. I forgot what it was that they told me he could have. The reason he could have changed it and made both of them testify against each other. I forgot what it was.
Put your mic on mute, and I'm gonna tell you what I believe it is. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you what I believe it is.
Okay.
Put your mic on mute for a minute. What I believe it to be. Okay, you said she missed a court appearance because of something was going on with either it was her child or her children or domestic violence. That may be an angle that you can go with. You need to probably try to see her records under the Freedom of Information Act. You may need to try to get that information.
Her file, her records are blocked. No one can get them. Nobody. We tried.
You did Freedom of Information?
Yes, and they have it. I forgot how they worded it. But there is nothing, we can't look at nothing of hers. It's not even, you can't even pull it up in the computer. Tried to go up there and they said her case is locked.
Okay. That could have happened 6 years ago.
Not his, but hers.
Yeah, that could have happened 6 years ago. But life has changed. People have changed. First of all, you need to get letters to the senators. You still know people. Now, some people ain't going to participate, so you're going to already have that in your mind. But people can participate all over the world that's listening to this, can write in your behalf, just like your friends can. But you need to write the senators, the state representative, the mayor. So you need to let them know. And if enough people hear this and would just have a letter to go by and send it in, all you got to do is email it So one thing that you can be tasked to do, and if you can't do it, I know your daughter can, and that is get these people email addresses. And let's just start a campaign. Just start sending them, and let's see. Then let's request again under the Freedom of Information Act. Let them tell you no. Let them tell you we can't do this. And then there is a form you can fill out for the FBI. Since that lady, Jackie, who we don't trust no way, and she in jail now, then let's fill out the form for the FBI and see if the Justice Department, see if this is considered a hate crime, see if this is a civil rights issue. It's so many different angles, and with you not knowing and grieving, I understand that. But like I told you before, I'm always here. I am available, but you got to be in the mindset to fight. And I know you a fighter. So take your time, but be on time, if you know what I mean. But I can do whatever I can do. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't represent you. I don't give legal advice. I don't do any of that. I'm a mother. I'm an auntie. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a cousin. I'm a friend. And I'm somebody's enemy. So I'm all of that. But I do what I do. And I cannot fear what might happen. Because some of these same people from some of this same clan have talked about me, have done me wrong, have had people attack me online. I don't even know these people. I don't have nothing for them or against them, but it happened to me. And my son warned me that stuff like this can happen, but I said, oh no, not me. I don't talk about people. I talk about me. But you will be surprised at the things people will turn on you for. These same people have been calling Suge a pedophile and calling him a child predator and been putting his children all up, following his children online, going in their DMs, talking to them. These are grown people from a crazy, notorious family. Now, this ain't nothing I heard. I ain't bullying nobody. This is something I've experienced. One guy was so bad I had to take him to court. He called me a child predator online to the world. So this stuff happens. But we have to help each other. Where you weak, maybe I'm strong. Where I'm weak, maybe you strong. And I feel you on that about the people. See, I don't like people to tell me that whatever you need, just give me a call. You're a goddamn lie, so we're not going through that. Now, tell me what you can do. They don't tell me what I need. Anytime you need me, because just that time, I got to make a run right quick. And I ain't going to be there. So I can't tell you that. I can just tell you that I'm usually home 24/7. And I don't know when I'm asleep or when I'm awake. And what I'll tell anybody, if you call my phone and I answer, we talking. Well, sometimes they'll tell me, nah, you sleep, I don't want to talk to you. Because I be saying crazy shit. But on the other hand, if I don't answer my phone, you know I'm in the bathroom or I'm going to call you back. Now, that's something that's going to happen. And if I don't, that means I'm no longer with you. And ain't nothing I can do about it. So it's the same for you. You have my number. You know how to contact me like you do through Messenger. Either way you choose to do it, it's on you. But I don't want to put more on you than you can bear. But I know you fighting for a cause. I'm fighting because I'm your sister in love, in life, in creation. That's what that is. And we have some good people right here in this chat. I don't have many people that be in my chat. You can see we've never got over 20. If we was talking about some bullshit, we'd have 2,000 or 3,000. But it's okay because it's going to stay there unless YouTube take it down. And I don't see no reason why they should, because they have crime stories on YouTube. And we're just telling a crime story. And I was just blessed enough to be able to meet you, the mother of a child that was victimized. So, we can do our part, and Suge will do his part. Trust me, he will. He will do his part. you're going to do your part. And so if we put them parts together, something's got to give. And it's just that simple. It doesn't sound simple because you live in it. So I don't want you to think I'm diminishing none of your thoughts, pains, feelings. Feel all that shit you feel. And don't care what nobody thinks. As long as you ain't hurting them and they ain't hurting you, you not letting them hurt you. These people done all the hurt, like you said, you could ever get in your life, and they were perfect strangers. So we just got to do what we know to do. You didn't accuse nobody of nothing, neither did I. I read a news story. They got a problem, tell it to the news. It's still being shown. I pulled this up just since I knew 2 weeks ago that I was going to do this, because I seen on your Facebook that the time was coming up. So I had already started preparing to do this show tonight. So I just want to say that you go ahead and say something.
Let me ask you something real quick. And you don't have to tell me why or anything, but are they harassing you anything to do with CJ and causing all those problems with you and Suge?
That could be some of it, but I think it's just who they are as people. I think it's just who they are. When you look at their backgrounds, Suge uncovered a lot about them and a lot of the things that they've been arrested for and accused of. And since they started paying people to, they call it dox his parents. And doxing means they put your home, your car. They did that to me too. They put all your information out for the public to see, and then they have these crazy people that follow them. A lot of the guys that they be calling Suge these names, we found out one of them was on the sex registry. Another one beat a pregnant woman and he has the problem. And then, one of the brothers, well, several of the brothers have crimes against children and against young women. So a lot of times people do what they call, they project and then they reflect and throw the stuff on you that's really happening inside of them. But it could have been because I took a stand, because I didn't stand for the one that everybody stand for. He inspired me to get on YouTube. But the talent and the knowledge and the wisdom that I have, I've lived 65 years. So I came here with that. He just inspired me. And so because I can't bow down to a has-been that never was, but had the opportunity to be and squandered it, then, I don't know nothing to tell nobody. I didn't come on here for nobody but to help uplift fallen humanity. So I came here for myself and for people just like yourself. So I don't know why they do what they do, but I'm not moved by it. My daddy told me if you was born to burn, you ain't gonna drown. So I can't worry about any of that. I don't want anything to happen to me or no one I love, but who wanted that for you? You didn't. Things happen, and it's nothing we can do about it. I don't bother people. I don't get in their business, but I will handle business. I will do that. I see a question here, I believe. Let me see, and maybe a statement. Let me read it. Regina said, since this took place in Brunswick, Georgia, it is in Georgia's jurisdiction. For assistance, reach out to Georgia Senators, Brunswick, Georgia Mayor Crosby H. Johnson, etc. So she's saying the same thing I'm saying. The letters need to go to those people. The senators, the mayor, the representatives, whatever they call themselves, everybody need to be just put on notice. They need to be put on notice. And then the FBI has a form you can fill out and submit it. They may look at it, they may not. You can even go directly to the White House. They have a whole department, a civil rights department. Again, you don't know, you just gonna do like they do. Just throw a lot of shit against the wall and whatever stick, let it stick. And if nothing stick, don't quit. Just keep coming back. Every year, keep coming back. And that's just all you can do. You're doing your part. Just you showing up tonight, being able to talk today. I really commend you on that. That means a lot. And I really pray that people actually gave, because I really would hate for you to be without your medication, knowing that you can't sleep. I have to sometimes use the rain for my sleep. I go to YouTube and get the rain and the thunder, and that helps me sleep. Because sometimes I don't sleep at all either.
I'm sorry, I had it on mute. I forgot. It's for my medicine. I always end up getting it. Just sometimes I have to go. I'm not rich. I don't have money like that. I'm living from day to day. Like most of us are. And like you said earlier, money does talk, and that has a lot to do with what happened with CJ's case, I believe. Like I said, I there's nothing I could prove, but common sense will tell you a lot of things. You could just see it, and I know the Brunswick News come up to me after they let him go in court that day, and he himself, he's the one that actually, he told me to go to the office where the Brunswick News was and ask them to give me the court papers, because everything, all the statements that was made in court, everything, because it would have costed me like $100 per one. Of course, it ain't nothing small, but that's just a bit much for me. And he said, no, we'll get it for you. And they paid for everything I sent you. And I don't think I sent you everything. I think I left some out.
Okay.
But they paid for that, for me to have that.
People will help.
Yeah, there is people that I help. My issue is, I guess from my past, the things I've been through, I feel uncomfortable sometimes taking something from someone, and the reason being is I've always had thrown up at me, you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for me. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have done this. You wouldn't have done that. You see what I'm saying? So it just...
Okay, they do us like that too.
But with me, it's just like when you sent me what you did on Cash App that time, I felt bad. It's like I'm thinking, not that you would do that, but I don't know. It just made me, I was overwhelmed. You don't know how much that helped me so much. Like you said, I don't have a lot, but I can give you what I have. And I'm not, I'm just, I guess I have to be convinced that, this person's good. They're not about that. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
It does.
It just gets me in my feelings, and then I want to cry because, like, seriously, I cry about almost everything now. Like I used to not to, but I do now. And it makes me think, if they didn't give me this, they would have this or that or this or that. It's because of me they don't. And that's what I start thinking, and I shouldn't do that. And that's something I'm trying to stop. But I guess I feel sometimes that maybe they think, well, she's just trying to take advantage of people, of the situation and everything. It's not like that at all. I just want people to know it's not like that. That's not me. That is not me by far. And if anyone did, I don't know if they did or not, but if they did put anything in the Cash App, my God, you have no idea how much I thank you for that. That means more than I could ever tell you. You have no idea. I didn't even have money to buy my child flowers today or anything, So it will be put to good use if anyone did. I don't care if it's $5. You know what I mean? Whatever is there, I promise it will be put to good use.
And I don't need to know what it is. I didn't do it for me. I did it for you.
I know you told me that before. You said, don't even tell me, but I promise you have my word that it was put to good use. Helping CJ. I mean, it really was. But I do think anyone, and I tell this all the time whenever someone wants to talk to me online or whatever, I thank you for just saying his name. Just saying his name means more to me than anyone in this world could ever imagine. It just, hearing someone say his name lifts my spirits. So if you said his name, then I thank you so much. From my heart, from my soul. I really do. I'm not, you know, it's taken everything I have not to cry right now. And I think I'm proud of myself for not crying, but it really is taking everything. So don't think just because I'm not crying that, oh God, you know, she's a bitch. You know.
You don't have to explain that to nobody.
Well, I do though. I mean, that's one of my problems too.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is.
I mean, I don't do it to everything. I don't explain everything to people. You know, but I just want people to understand that I'm not trying to take advantage of people. I'm really not. You know, and if you think I am, then just keep scrolling. Leave me alone. I mean, you know, I don't want to hear no negativity about it, because I know in my heart what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is not wrong.
No, it's not.
You know, I pray to God every day to help me make it through one more day. So far, He's answered my prayers, but it's a tough one. This is one hell of a ride. This is one hell of a ride. And, you know, I'm going to tell you something. And I'm going to say this. Yes, at first, all kind of thoughts went through my head. But truth be told, I wouldn't even wish this kind of pain on them. Because that's the type of person I am. I wouldn't want them to come home one day and find their child dead. Some people think I'm crazy for thinking that way. But
you're not.
But I wouldn't wish this kind of hurt on any mother or father or anyone. You know, do I want them to pay for what they done? Yes. But I'm not going to wish evil stuff or pray for evil stuff to happen to them. You know, what they done was wrong to my son. They killed him. They was wrong. If you ask me, it's evil. It ain't nothing but evil. But that doesn't give me the right to wish harm on them people. I don't wish harm on them. I don't wish. And a lot of people tell me I'm crazy for saying that. And that's fine. If that's the way you believe, that's fine. That, you know, everybody has the right to their own beliefs, the right to their own opinion, everything, you know. That's fine, but that's just the way I feel. I can't do that. I cannot wish harm on anyone like this, not this kind. You know, that's just like sitting there. That's like if someone said that, it would be like, I'm wishing a child would die. You know what I mean? A lot of people tell me I'm crazy, but then some people tell me I'm real strong to think like that. I don't know. I really don't care. That's just the way I feel. I mean, I don't want to be best friends with them or anything. I do want them to pay for what they've done to my son. And honestly, I could care less if I ever see them again in my life. But I do want them to pay for what they've done to my son. And I will do whatever I have to do. I mean, that's just, I'm sorry. Am I crazy for thinking that way? I don't know. I could be.
Let me tell you what. I'm sorry, Ann. I want to tell you what Regina M. said. She said, with all due respect, Miss Proctor, from all good intentions, Please, for your peace, stop being concerned about what other people think. This is your son. This is your journey and your family. So I wish I might need to screenshot that one for you and send it to you so you can have that when you get to thinking. Maybe you can hold on to that to know that genuine people are here and they care about you. Okay,
I'm sorry, I put it on mute. It's not so much, I don't care what people think about things. The problem is when you keep hearing it over and over and over, you know what I mean? And it starts to, I don't care who you are, if you hear something all the time, over and over, it starts to bother with you. And I could care less really what people think about me when it comes to certain things, but if someone's going to tell me every time they see me over and over, and that's all they say, it will bother a person, especially someone in some heavy grief like me. You know what I mean? Like, they doing it. I don't know if they're doing it to be funny. I don't know if they do stuff just because they're evil. I don't know. But I know half the stuff I have been told, it's just stuff you don't say. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you've ever heard that you hear something so much you start believing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying not to do.
Let me share something with you.
Okay, I'm going to put it on mute, okay?
We're only as sick as our secrets. And everybody have people like that in their lives. What we have to do is make a decision. Avoid those people at all costs. No matter who they are. If they're saying things like that to you, then when you first start hearing it, you got to shut it down and get away as fast as you can. If it's on the phone, let me get back with you and hang up your phone. If it's in person, I'll be right back. Tiptoe on out like they do in church. And it's easier said than done. But imagine being treated as if you are nothing and a nobody all your life by the world. But yet you rise to the occasion, whatever it is, for your children, your family, your friends, yourself. Like you said, that mask that you wear, that mask you put on because you know how you're hurting and grieving. Imagine before this, living like that every day of your life, not knowing how you're going to be received. And I'm talking about by people that you loved and done things for. My mama taught us this: baby, give because you have it in your heart to do. Because the same people you give to may not ever give to you. And that's a true statement. I didn't want to believe that, but I learned. In 65 years, you learn that's a true statement. And the ones you think will comfort you the most, they're the most critical. So we have to cut them off. If it ain't none but for a time, maybe we can't do nothing but text. I don't even want to hear your voice. Don't even talk to me. Regina says, how are you hearing these triggering statements over and over? Remember, you always have choices. Tell them your feelings. Stop listening. Block them out. Let go of people and things. And she tell me stuff like that all the time. And I tell her, like I tell my oldest sister, and don't ever stop telling me the truth. Please don't. I might, bark when you telling it to me, but please don't stop telling me the truth, because when you're alone, the truth has a way of dealing with you and you with it. And sometimes we just don't want to let go because we're familiar with certain types of pain. But sometimes we have to let go because we become addicted to getting mistreated. And we think we're not. Because we can talk shit and we can talk back and we can, sometimes you don't even need to go through none of that. Let it go. And it's easier said than done, but I promise you, if you start practicing, you'll start believing your own stuff in your head. You won't be hearing them people no more. You will not. I guarantee it. I've done it. It's not easy, and sometimes I'm alone a lot, but I'm all right, and I'm at peace. And that's how I do what I do.
I hear a lot of that. She asked, how do I hear it? It's not that, they're my friends or anything that's running and telling me this. Mainly I hear it like on today or on his birthday or on the holidays. People just got to say their 2 cents here and there. And I don't never know who's going to say something. Never. I can't pinpoint that. But they say it at the worst times, and really they don't need to be saying crazy stuff at all. But they do, because they're stupid themselves. I do say something to them. I do. I don't just sit there and cry behind it. I say something to them. That's mainly when they're coming at me crazy is on these days. And I think these are the days they need to chill out. And if you got something, don't have anything nice to say, then leave me alone. Say nothing at all. As for the other times, I'm in this alone. I'm alone. Sometimes being alone is the worst feeling in the world. Especially when you're alone trying to do things. Everybody denying you. They can't help me. They can't. They don't want to bother the case. They can't do anything for the case. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I am. I just, and I don't believe in giving up. I'm not going to give up, but I'm exhausted. So the only time I really do hear stuff like that, but you hear it a lot, especially on days like this, it just gets you all in your feelings, because you're already in your feelings anyway. I'm in my feelings all the time because that's my son, but it really on like the death day or his birthday or one of the holidays, and that's when certain people, I like I said, I can't pinpoint who it's going to be, but it's like not always the same person. One person I don't talk to at all anymore because this was a constant thing, like all the time. I just blocked them and told them to go fuck yourself is what I told them. If you want me to tell you, that's what I told them. And I hope that don't get you in trouble or anything, but that's exactly what I told them. I told them you can go fuck yourself. But in between those times, I'm alone. It's my child. I get that. It's not nobody else's. And, and I don't expect people to go out their way to do anything. You know what I mean? But being alone can be a scary thing. And it also makes you feel more alone than you've ever known how to feel alone. Like with something like this, I don't know about everything, but when it comes to grief, being alone, trying to do this on my own with people that's telling me they're going to help me like before. Nothing to do with y'all. These are just examples that I've had before. I needed to ride to the courthouse. Every damn excuse in the book came up. So there were a few days that I needed to go up there that I wasn't able to go behind CJ's case because people promising me, yeah, I got you, and then for some reason they can't. So I've accepted that. I guess I'm going to be alone doing this, like that's the way it seems. That's how I feel.
Well, I have a mantra, and it's after the United States Army, and that is to See yourself as an army of one. And that's how you have to see yourself. And hopefully you can enlist other people, but they need to be an army of one. And we are working toward the same goal. And maybe we can meet at the point wherever it is we're trying to work toward. But oftentimes you have to do it alone. And alone sometimes is a beautiful place to be. And I don't know, I used to be what they called devout, born again Christian until I started researching who we were before we were slaves. So I still have the same devout belief in something greater than myself. I just do it a little different nowadays. And I'm so free from the knowledge that I've learned. But I've had to fight for me all my life. I didn't have no help. My sister taught me how to write a letter, my oldest sister and my older cousin. And ever since they taught me, I've been writing ever since. And that's why I say I don't practice law, but I read a lot. I don't give suggestions as to advise people of what they should do, but I do give suggestions based on knowledge. I don't give advisements. I don't represent anybody. And what I do it freely because I've studied. And that's what Timothy asks us to do, to study to show ourselves approved, a workman rightly dividing the word of truth. And we have to know that these people that we love, we run across, we meet. One of my biggest problems, I allow people to be who they say they are until they show me different. And sometimes that's very costly for me. Emotionally, financially, it really hurts sometimes. But, I pick myself on up and keep it moving. And I believe in feeling the pain. I never had an escapism. People were my escapism, and I don't feel compelled to save or rescue the world anymore. Now I just do what I do because it's my purpose, and that's to advocate and to help. But I can't do more for anybody than they're willing to do for themselves. I show them what I've learned how to do, and then I'll help in any way that I can. So sometimes you just got to change the thinking. Regina said, when change takes place in our lives, sometimes we are afraid to let go of the familiar. We know change has taken place and it will never be the same, yet we want to remain the same. Doesn't work. And that is so true. And I've never met Regina, but she is brilliant in her speech. She says, I want to reach out and give you a hug, Miss Proctor. This is my virtual hug to you. And she's giving you a hug and a heart and a bouquet of flowers and praying hands. And I'm finna get off the mic. And believe it or not, Ann, you stayed 3 hours. That's really beautiful.
Yeah. What'd you say her name was?
Regina M.
Regina, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That made me smile. Thank you. But I want to tell you, I see you, I hear you, and I appreciate you so much. There are things that you have said to me in the past that some situation might occur, and I remember what you said. You've helped me more than you know, just by seeing how I'm doing sometimes, But
thank you.
Your words have touched me a lot, and I do appreciate you, and I will always see you and hear you.
Thank you. You're going to hear a little bit more because I'm going to work on a letter for you and I'm going to send it to you.
Okay. But I just thought, I needed to tell you that. Like, I'm sure you help a lot of people, but you have really touched me in ways that a lot of people can't. Like you said, you didn't know me from Adam at first. You just met me doing this. And I believe not everything, but some things happen for a reason. That's what I believe. And I believe I met you for a reason. You have no idea how much you have helped me. You really don't, just your words alone. Because I remember, I might not be able to remember it back to back right now, but when certain situations come up, I remember what you say. And it helps me. It does. So for that, I will always be thankful that I met you. Always. And I wish I could just give you a hug. So I'm sending you a virtual hug right now.
We can do a virtual hug too.
But I do thank you. I thank you with everything I have in me. I thank you.
Well, that's beautiful. I think we're going to get ready to come to a close. I've been here almost 3.5 hours.
Oh, goodness, has it?
Each and every one of you guys for staying with us this time. And, you don't have to be a stranger. Anytime you want to, come up, all you got to do is hit me up and I'll make sure you get the link. And you don't have to ever, worry about being a stranger here. Or think that you're overburdening us or anything like that. Because, again, one of the things that we have to do is keep CJ name alive. We got to keep it out in the public. And then we got to get to the officials. Whether they do anything or not, we can't say. But we can just do our part. And it's somebody, somewhere, that's waiting to help you. I'm talking about greater than us. Somebody.
And tonight I wasn't expecting this. You coming on live for him. And when you told me today, it kind of brightened my spirits a little bit because, that don't happen often. And today you helped just by telling me you was doing this for CJ.
Yes, ma'am.
So, like I said, that don't happen often, but you did it.
Yeah, we got to keep his name alive. We got to keep his name, his legacy, his story. And the next time you come, you can tell us some of them funny stories, telling your funny jokes like you be telling.
Today, I don't think was a good day to do that.
No, you did beautiful today. I am just honored that you accepted and you actually showed up. So that means a lot to me. And just hug and kiss your other children for me. And I know somebody sent something, so I don't have to worry about that. And like I said, that's on you. We don't need to know nothing about it. What you do with it, it's yours. Whatever you choose to do, that's what you do. And just, reach out sometime. I'm always reach out to you and see how you're doing. And I'll be seeing you, like I said, on your little faces on your little Facebook when you be doing your little karaoke. That's so funny.
Well, I do it on TikTok and post it on Facebook, but there's a lot that I can't post on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, they're changing all these platforms. They really are. And so you don't know when you're violating rules or not. So it's okay.
But I am on TikTok. If you ever get on TikTok, find me.
Okay, I will, because I'm on TikTok too.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't do a lot on there, but I am on there.
Well, see, somebody hacked my Facebook page and changed my name to my TikTok name. And I thought that was strange. And I got to wait 60 days before I could change it back to my name because I have my name on there so people can look me up and find me. They don't know me under my TikTok name. So they're making me. So if you look at my Facebook and you see Queen Marie, that's what I am on TikTok. And they changed it on my Facebook page. I reported it, but they don't never do nothing about stuff like that, But I did report it, and I got to wait 60 days to change it back to my name.
Regina said, Toothless Tiger has been an advocate for CJ on her channel from the very beginning. When she believes in a cause worth fighting, she is consistent. We have been fighting right along with her, and that's true.
That makes me feel good because it's sad that people that you've only known for a short period of time and not even really met in person are willing to help you more than people that you know, and that actually seeing you daily or every other day or even weekly going through pain or just needing help. And it's sad that it's like that. I mean, it really is. I mean, I've gotten more help from you than I have some of my family members. That should tell you a lot right there, like my family, you know? So that's why I don't mess with a lot of people in my family anymore. And there's a lot of people that I've done cut loose. And that's hard for me to do because I'm the type of person I don't like pushing people away. But I've learned that some people you have to. Yes, you have a choice, but if you want to make the right choice, you have to. Because I didn't want to push no one away. Not that that I was afraid to. It's just I felt, well, I might be that one person that's able to help them, you know, because there's one person might be able to help me, and that might be it. But then it just, certain situations would happen, and I'm like, you know what? Block. Block. You've been dismissed. You go now. Bye. Are you talking? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
I'm on mute. I'm just saying blockity block. I know that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So it took me a minute to realize that, but I did. And, you know, better late than never, right? So it made me smile to come on here and see you had CJ's picture of him and his children on there. I like that.
I'm glad. I didn't know how you were really going to feel about it, but that's the picture I have on his song, but I just have the children's faces blocked out on the song.
And for future references, reading stuff like that about CJ or whatever you did tonight, anything, as long as it's not, you know, something of him laying on the ground at the murder scene, then I've come to where I might get emotional and have to take a break. But other than that, I could talk about it now without breaking down. I might break down later, but I can actually talk about it without breaking down. I mean, before I couldn't say anything about it. I didn't even want nobody, because I would just break down. But if someone asked me his story, I could tell them. I used to not be able to do that. I could tell them. And I've learned that from you. I did. I learned that from you. And if Suge is still in here, is he still in here?
No, I think he's over there doing a video.
Okay, well, I was just gonna tell him thank you for the things he's done also, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have met you.
That's true.
Yeah. And that night he brought me alive. Oh God, you have no idea how much. It's just a relief. You know what I mean? I was able to talk. I was able to be heard. And people don't want to hear. But he allowed me to talk. He heard me. And he made sure other people did. And now you have. And I appreciate that more than I could tell you all day long how much I appreciate it, and it still wouldn't be enough. So y'all have touched me, both of y'all, in ways that I can't even describe. But just know, if you ever wonder if you're helping someone, you help me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That is my purpose.
I just felt I needed to tell you that tonight and tell you here instead of on Messenger or whatever. So, and I haven't stayed in contact with Suge, so I've stayed in contact with you, but just, if I don't think he's going to jump back in here, I should have told him while he was here, but just pass it to him that I thank him so much. I mean, and even it wasn't, I was able to speak. That's all I wanted to do. And he allowed that. He was the first one to allow that. Out of this whole, and I think it was like, maybe 3 years later. And that was the first time I wasn't even able to read an impact statement in court. And he allowed me to do that on his live also. So, and that gave me the courage to do it on Facebook because of him.
I was there.
So, like I said, I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all are the only ones that's allowed me to talk. I might have been babbling some tonight, but my mind, it just races like, the Gravitron at the fair that we used to get on. That's my mind right there, and it don't stop. So, and you can only imagine how it gets when I get to joking around and everything. Like it's just everything, and I come back so quick, and it's, girl, it's crazy. And somebody's asked me if I wanted medicine to do that. So all that medicine's gonna do is help me sleep my life away. No, I don't want to sleep my life away. I'm going to deal with everything and live as long as I'm supposed to be here. So I have learned a lot from y'all, though.
Well, I'm glad. And you take it to help you sleep if that's what you need. But yeah, you want to live through the day and feel what you feel and go through it.
No, the medicine they were talking about putting me on no, I didn't need that. I think it was that Seroquel stuff. I didn't know. No, I know what that does, and I've seen people on that, and I've seen what it can do to people. And no. No. So I'm okay. I'll deal with me being hyper or this or that, but I'm not fixing them. No. I'd rather deal with living than deal with Seroquel the rest of my life. So that's just me.
Yeah, because believe it or not, one day this too shall pass. It might pass with you. It may not ever leave you. But for real, one day, you're going to be smiling in a whole different way. And you can believe that because you're going to fight until you can't fight no more. And that's all you can do. Yeah, that's all you can do.
That's it. And like I promised my son, I won't give up. I will die trying. If I haven't accomplished before it's time for me to die, then I will honestly know in my heart I gave it my best. It was one hell of a ride, but I did it. I just told my daughter and them, I said, if I ever die before CJ gets justice, y'all better keep on. Do not let it go. I told her, I said, I'll come back to haunt you every day of your life. She said, well, Mama. I said, don't Mama me.
Yeah. On that note, y'all, we're going to get ready to say good night. And we're going to end with my favorite two songs I'm going to play. Our Children Are Our Future. And then we're going to end with CJ. And after CJ, we're leaving the Tiger's Den. Everybody have a beautiful night. And thank you so very much for coming. I couldn't have had a better March 17th. And I'm glad that we were able to spend it with you and bringing you some laughter and lifting you up, encouraging you. And you just keep on fighting the good fight of faith. That's all you can do.
And you're welcome.
Okay, everybody. We're leaving the Tiger's Den. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and hit the notification bell. And maybe one day you might want to look in You never know when we may do another CJ story just to keep it alive, but I always have justice for CJ, and I play his song often. So he's known, but people needed to know, especially today, the man behind the hashtag. And that's what it's all about. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place, find yourself in love. Justice for CJ, a son, brother, father, uncle. Up drove the hearse Cadillac. A crowd of people gathered around, all dressed in black. And as they removed his body from the car, such pain she never knew had filled her heart. It happened on an early Saturday morning when the noise from the phone really disturbed her. She wasn't too sure at first just what the caller meant when they informed her that there had been an incident. Why, oh why, the sound of a mother's cry as she gathered herself and wiped the tears from her eyes. Somebody asked who was the next of kin. But oh Lord, it was the beginning of her end. March 17th, 2018. CJ will forever be 22 years young. Justice for CJ.